Hey, Carl.
Talk shoes. Recorded live.
Hi, everybody. It's Saturday morning. It's 10:35 a.m. in California, and we have a special guest speaker this morning. We have Constitution Man. Hi, Constitution Man.
Hello there. Yep.
Thank you so much. And we also have our regularly scheduled host, Chris Chappie Chapman, and Greg Slaughter, Ticket Slayer. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning. Good morning, Angela.
Okay, so what's on the agenda for today?
Well, we have the one and only Carl Miller.
Good.
And so I think that we want to hear a lot from Carl here, because I know Carl has a lot to say. Maybe at some point, Chappie and I can talk a little bit about what we do, but I think we should probably jump in here and let Carl have the stage. What do you think, Chappie?
I absolutely agree.
Well, I've never been a hog in my life. We can share. Whatever your normal program thing is.
You're just the nicest
happy to
guy.
Cooperate. I'll be happy to cooperate.
Well, what I like probably to do is, as you go along, I may interrupt and ask you some questions.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. And you wanted to go over how this whole thing got?
Yeah, if you would, please, Carl. Tell us how this began for you, your involvement into the Constitution.
Well, I was a young soldier stationed in the Republic of Vietnam. So I was a crew chief on a helicopter with the infamous 8th Troop 1st Squadron 9th Air Cavalry. That's the 1st Air Cav. That's the guys that was in that movie Apocalypse Now. The ones that the CO said, "I love the smell of napalm in the morning. It smells like victory." That movie. There really was a unit in Vietnam like that. We really did play into battle the Ride of the Valkyrie. Bum, ba-da-ba-dum, bum, bum, ba-da-ba-dum, bum. I was there the day that kid surfed that beach. That was really a true story. It actually happened. And a lot of that movie is true, except for the part that they didn't kill that colonel. They made him the commanding general of Fort Benning, Georgia's infantry school. And I got a call to show up at the headquarters, and so myself and Sergeant Crouch and another sergeant, they called him, his name was Rudy, they called him Coach. He was a Yugoslavian who had joined the American Army to come to America and become a citizen. And we were really fine soldiers, and we were regarded as, straight strapped troops. Our boots were shined, our uniforms were clean cut, we were serious soldiers, okay? And so the first sergeant had called me and the boys into the headquarters, and he says, "Now you boys have been selected for a special job." And I had two aircraft actually in the hangar, all shot to pieces, and we were going the following week to Cambodia, and we all loved to go to Cambodia, contrary to what President Nixon said. And I was trying to get my aircraft all the gigs off them and get, all the bullet holes patched and all the stuff that had to be fixed, and the radios, making sure they were working good and all this stuff. And so I'm working feverishly on two aircraft to try and get them up and running so that they could be ready to go for the following week's battle. And the next thing I know, I'm being picked and hauled to headquarters, and they're talking about, and I thought they had picked me for some special detail, And so I said respectfully to the first sergeant, First Sergeant, I'd really appreciate it if you could pick another non-commissioned officer for this duty. I got two aircraft sitting in the hangar all shot to pieces, and I'm trying to get them back together because they're going to Cambodia next week. And so I want to make sure we get to go with them, and I don't want these guys taking my seats and my radios and all of the paraphernalia off of my aircraft to put on their aircraft to get up and flying, and then I don't have none, you see. And I got to wait till maintenance figures out how to order new ones. So I don't want them touching a nut, bolt, or a screw on my aircraft, or somebody's going to get cut. You know what I'm saying? So I'm asking him if he could pick another non-commissioned officer, and he turned to me and retorted, Sergeant, you're in the United States Army. You have your orders, and you will follow those orders to the letter. Is that clear? Sir, yes, sir. Didn't talk to me like that. I was one of his favorites. He just didn't talk to me like that. And I said, yeah, sure, First Sergeant, not a problem. Sir, yes, sir, you know. He said, look, boys, you've been selected for something special. We want to send our very best down to this, and so you have been selected to do this. Just roll with me on this one. I want you down at such and such a hangar at such and such a time. I want your uniforms spiffy. Do not let us down. We are sending our best to this. Now, please, show up, look good. Stand tall, look good. I said, sure, Top, not a problem, not a problem. So we go down to this hangar, and we notice that everybody in there is a real clean cut. Haircuts, you know, the whole 9 yards. Boots are polished. There didn't appear to be any drinkers or people that used special herbs, you know what I'm saying? And we kind of recognized ourselves looking around the room, and I'm saying, oh boy. I said, oh boy, we have been selected. They're going to North Vietnam. We're going to get our POWs out. This is it. This is the one. We've been waiting for this a long time. And we have been selected, okay? Next thing I know, they're coming in and they're handing out constitutions and information about the special project that they're about to put on. And then this colonel comes in, and of course it's a big thing, you know, take seats, you know, and he gets up and he proceeds to start talking about this special project, and the two boys have been specially selected. That when you go and get out of the Army, we want you to go back to civilian life, and we want you to be fully filled in and knowledgeable about what's going on. We want you to make sure you defend the Constitution to the death. We want to make sure that you're very knowledgeable, you know, about what's going on, and we had to practically memorize the whole Constitution. I mean, it got to a point where Article 6, Paragraph 2, the Constitution and the laws in pursuance thereof and the treaties made or which shall be made under the authority of the United States shall be the supreme law of the land. The judges in every state shall be bound thereby. Anything in conflict or repugnancy is null and void of law. It bears no power to enforce, no obligation to obey. Purports to settle as if it never existed. Unconstitutionality dates from the enactment. No courts are bound to uphold it. No citizens are bound to obey it. That's Marbury versus Madison, 5 U.S. 137, 1803. First Chief Justice John Marshall gave the opinion of the court.
Wait.
And see, you had
Slow
to
down.
know. You had
Slow
to
down.
rattle. You had to rattle the stuff out. You had to know your shit is basically what it come down to. And so the idea was that you would be kind of a go-between, and you would try and make sure when questions arose among the troops that they understood, why are we doing this? What is this all about? Why are we here in Vietnam? Why are we, you know, defending the Constitution? What do we got to do with Vietnam, you know? And also when you go home and you hear people talking trash about America, you know, we want you boys to stand tall and look good, make sure people got the truth and the facts and what's going on. So that's how I actually got started, okay? And that project was, to my understanding, it was top secret at the time. And it went through all the services, every branch, Army, Navy, Marines, Air Corps, Coast Guard, and they picked their best guys and gals, and they sent them to this program. And they basically, this was, I found out later, under the instruction orders of General MacArthur. And General MacArthur was kind of a unique fellow. He didn't believe in fair, he wanted to win. And just like at Incheon, he didn't tell the UN what we were going to do. He didn't tell nobody what we were going to do. And we snookered the communists and snuck into Incheon and ended up, you know, overturning the whole program in Korea, because General MacArthur was realizing that we were being sold out from the inside, you know what I'm saying, that they were given our codes and stuff. And when we flew into North Vietnam to get our POWs out on the Sante raid, we found out, he damn sure was right, they had given our SOI radio codes to the UN, and of course the UN gave them to the communists, and the day before we came, they had moved our POWs, so we couldn't get them out. I can tell you we were pretty upset that day. We probably burned down half of that town, just out of spite, because they took our POWs and ran off with them. But this is how I got started in the beginning. That's how I got started. And when I came home, I did just like I was trained to do, you know, pick up defend the Constitution every chance I got, make sure people understood their Constitution and their rights, to step forward and be counted. If somebody's going to trash the Constitution, hold the line here, Chester. You know, where are we going with this? You know, go to court. I mean, this is now 1972, 73. So it's a long time from 2012. You can see I've been doing that very job this whole time now. And every chance I see where they're railroading somebody, or every chance I see where I can throw a wrench in on them and block them or shut them down, that's what I've been doing. So that's how I got started in the whole program. Now, you got to understand there's thousands of guys like me throughout the services that have been put through this program. Now, 44 years later, I can see the fruits of it, because everywhere you go. I walked into a 7-Eleven the other day in a place I'd never been, and a guy walks up to me and says, "You're Carl Miller. God love you, sir. You're doing great work. Keep up the good work." I'd never been to Sioux City, Iowa before. You know what I'm saying? So it's getting to be I can't go any place. I went and sat down in a barber chair in a town I'd never been in my life. And the little gal who was cutting the hair, she says, "Oh, my God, I'm never washing this chair again." Da-da-da-da. I said, "Excuse me?" She goes, "Oh, my husband is going to be so upset. He would have just loved to have been here and shake your hand, sir." He says, "I had Carl Miller in my barber chair." I go, low key. See, we operate low key. We don't put on a big. We strike like lightning and sound like thunder. All of a sudden we're there. Then you turn around and we're gone. And it's when we're gone you got to worry, because you don't know where we are or where we're going to turn up or what's going to happen. So that's kind of a unique thing now, and this happens to me now more often than most people would be flattered and tickled, but I understand the security problems, and there's a lot of security problems, and you need to understand that. And these people are extremely upset with me. Too bad, so sad, you know. But I'm basically doing what I was trained to do as a serious soldier. And I've been putting the word everywhere. And I've been helping people everywhere. Every time I see some little person getting railroaded, hold the line here, Chester. Why are you picking on this little guy? He didn't do nothing, you know. And I'm basically that guy that throws those wrenches. And like I say, June the 15th, here coming up next month, it'll be my 44th year doing kind of stuff. So that's how I got started, and that's my motivation. And my motivation is to make sure, especially on this weekend, that we not forget the fine soldiers, sailors, Marines, airmen, nurses. We don't want to forget you nurses out there. We know who's smiling face. When we woke up with them lights on us thinking we went to heaven, you know, and them nurses come up, we definitely thought, "Oh, man, I made it. We got to heaven." Nurses were a whole bunch of help to make sure we got put back together and glued and patched and whatever have you. So we don't want to forget you nurses, because we know you nurses did a hell of a job. And you took a lot of the same risks that we did. Like I say, I met this one nurse. It was a phenomenal situation. I'm sleeping on the deck of my aircraft in maintenance because we were in the rear area, and I wasn't assigned to the rear area. I was in the field. I slept on the deck of my helicopter in the field. And out come these drunken officers, and they were drunk as a skunk. And they opened the doors of my aircraft, started climbing aboard. I said, "Excuse me, and just where do you people think you're going?" "Oh, we're just going to borrow your bird and take it over to the hospital there and visit the nurses." I says, "Now, one of you drunken officers is taking the stick on this aircraft. I don't give a shit what you say." And I pulled out my gun, and I was dead serious. "You drunken officers are not crashing this bird, I'll tell you that right now." And then an officer came forward, and I recognized him. It was Captain Max. He said, "Sergeant, I'm sober. You know me. I'm Captain Max." He said, I'll fly the bird, and you can fly right seat, you know what I'm saying? And we'll make sure nobody crashes your bird." That's good, because I'm not letting nobody take this aircraft unless we got somebody who's dead serious sober, okay? So we took the bird, and he says, "By the way, do you know how to get to the 24th Evac Hospital at Long Bend?" I says, "Oh, yeah. I know how to get to every one of your Evac hospitals." I says, "Okay, fly north on Highway 1 from Saigon to Long Bend, and when you get about the middle of the base, which is about a 60-mile perimeter, right in the middle is Gate 7. As soon as we hit Gate 7, you want to make a right turn and immediately prepare to land, because you're on short final. And sure enough, boom, up come the Red Cross, and boom, we were already landing. He says, man, you are a good navigator. And he says, how do you do that? Well, I've been here so many times, you see, I just know where they all are. And so we landed, and I'm taking care of the aircraft, and of course, nurses were officers, so they couldn't fraternize with lower enlisted personnel. So the officers got to go in and meet the nurses, and see, I had to stay out with the aircraft, and of course I greased everything and put everything to bed. And so one of the captains, Max, he said, could some of your nurses take some beer out to our crew chief out there? He's sitting on the aircraft right now. He can't come in. They won't let him pass the gate because he's a sergeant. But, if you could take some beer out to him, we'd appreciate it. So the one gal says, that big cavalry sergeant you like from the 1st Cav, that big guy, the one you like, he's out on the helicopter pad right now, nursing, putting his helicopter to bed. Why don't you take him a 6-pack? And this gorgeous redheaded nurse, she was a captain, she says, oh, hell yeah. So out she came. And so we ended up sitting on the deck of the aircraft. I put the radio on, put on all the oldies, the goldies, the Simon and Garfunkel, Bridge Over Troubled Water, the whole 9 yards, And we got to talking, come to find out she was from Troy, Michigan, which was just north of me in Detroit. And we got to talking about the old times, and we got to talking about home, and, we had a few brewskis. We were listening to the radio. Next thing you know, we're dancing next to the helicopter. And, I mean, we hit it off pretty good, and I'd really made a friend, okay? And so the next day, Captain Max comes up to me and he says, okay, what'd you do with my nurse? I said, excuse me, sir? He says, my nurse. I sent you a nurse with a 6-pack of beer. She never showed back up. What happened to my nurse? I said, sir, well, a gentleman never discusses the kissing of a lady. That doesn't motivate him to kill you, you understand? So I ain't telling you jack, you know what I'm saying? And he says, well, we have orders. If we want to come back and see the rest of the nurses, we got to bring you with us. So you must have preserved the honor of the cavalry. And I said, sir, I was a gentleman and a scholar at all times, okay? So I got to be great friends with this nurse, and we really hit it off good. Then one day I go back there to see her, and this colonel comes out and explains to me that we're sorry to have to tell you, but the nurse was killed. She was killed in a rocket attack that landed and blew up the end of the operating room number 4. So I was a little tense about that time. So I never got to see her again. But I did go see her mom when I came home from Vietnam and told her what a fine soldier she was and that she was really missed. And, of course, she appreciated that. But, I mean, I could tell you such tales all day about the magnificent sacrifice, the magnificent service our fine young men and women did that I personally saw. And I'm telling you, I have seen some guys do some phenomenal things where they're totally on fire, hanging out the door of helicopters, still firing up enemy positions and doing phenomenal things where they go in and the whole LZ's on fire and they fly in and pick up these shot-up wounded veterans, I mean, I could tell you such tales of daring do, of wild and crazy guys. Absolutely phenomenal. And so, especially on this weekend, we don't want to forget our fine soldiers, sailors, Marines, airmen, our nurses, our doctors. We damn sure don't want to forget the ones that kept us alive, patched us up, put us back together so we could go back out and fly again. I recently attended a convention of the 1st Air Cavalry at Fort Hood, Texas, and I was overwhelmed. I thought I was at a basketball wheelchair convention, because 80% of the people attending attendance were in wheelchairs. You just can't put words on something like that. And you walk in the room and you realize, and these were the lucky ones that lived, you know what I'm saying? But that's what a bunch of wild and crazy guys, those 1st Air Cavalry guys were. They were just bad to the bone. Unbelievably tough, unbelievably resilient, absolutely fearsome. When we would show up on the battlefield, believe me, the enemy definitely know, uh-oh, here come those pony soldiers. We're in deep doo-doo, and they'd run like hell. We'd put that Ride of the Valkyrie on the loudspeaker, and we'd come in, low and fast, and boom, ba-da-ba-dum, boom, boom, ba-da-ba-dum, boom, and they ran like hell because of the bravado and the pure guts and courage and tenacity and just balls of these guys. They just were incredible. And we don't want to forget none of that on this weekend. It's very important that we never, never, never forget these fine fellows, especially the ones that came back who are in desperate need of serious medical attention and help, and they don't really get that when they go down to these hospitals. Trust me, I've been there and done that. And it's unfortunate. And the promises that were made to them have been broken and broken and broken and broken and broken and broken. No. We don't want to paint with a wide brush, and we don't want to say that all are bad or no good, because that's not the truth. Some are good and some are not. But I will tell you, we could go a long ways to taking a whole bunch better care of our fine veterans. A long ways. Trust me, I've been there. This weekend is a special weekend. You cannot put a number or a value on what these fine veterans have done, and so we don't want to go there. We just want to make sure they understand we will never, 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 ever forget. And let you understand that you are loved, greatly cared for. We wish you the very best on this weekend, especially if you're all by yourself with your fishing rod and your big dog buck, sitting out on the dock catching a whopper fish, you lucky sucker. Anyway, we love you. We want you to know we love you. And we will not forget. And we're working as hard as we can to try and make sure you get better care. Believe me, we are. In the meantime, we want those that think they're going to just walk right in and take on, probably ought to rethink that philosophy. Probably ought to rethink that, because we are not going to just let you get away with that. So you better find another hobby, especially one that's got a little better chance of living. Because if you come here and you mess with America, you're messing with the very best by test. And we are not going to sit by and let you take over America. So you probably ought to just change your attitude and take your new world order and go someplace else that might appreciate your thinking process. We do not. We will not. And you'd better plan on using your Blue Cross card to the maximum limits if you try. Because we are not going to let you get away with it. And just so you know, us old soldiers are out here. We're here. We aren't going to just walk away. We're not going to walk away. And if you don't want to meet a mean mother with a black beret, you probably ought to just forget your plans of taking over. It ain't happening in your lifetime.
I have a question for you, honey.
All right, go. Go, baby.
What is your opinion of Gitmo, Guantanamo Bay?
Well, I got several opinions. Anytime you're hiding stuff, what does that tell other people about you?
Well, the reason I mention it is because I remember, I think George Bush said he was going to get rid of it, but never did. And then Obama said he was going to close it down, but it's still open.
Did you ever notice when these guys want to get elected, they promise the moon, and then they somehow, after the election, forget?
Funny how that happens, huh?
Jeez, come on. They have a bad feeling about us, folks. They think we're stupid. They think we won't remember. They think if they go more than 2 moves, that we'll just forget about it. That all they got to do to confuse people is make the thing 2 moves. Anything more than 2 moves, and the people will forget. We don't forget. We may let you slide for a while, but we don't forget. But you'd better really understand. If you try that here in America, like I said, plan on using your Blue Cross card to the maximum limits, because we're gonna take care of business. Don't ever underestimate the American people and think we won't take care of business, because
okay, but what about all this, business of these executive orders that have been signed where they can pick us up and he just now signed up a new
hearing. Yeah, you don't get a court hearing.
You don't get to make a phone call, and he's got this now he's got an assassination czar. What's up with that? I mean, how is that possible? I mean,
how exactly?
What do all our Vietnam vets and World War II vets that are still with us, and just any war vets? What do they think of this?
Well, I'm going to tell you a secret about all of these vets. They got this big bag in the closet, got me, with all their TA-50 on it and all of their shit, and it wouldn't take very much for a certain call to go out, and them bags would come out of the closet. And if they come out of the closet, you boys had better have your asbestos underwear on, because when we finish with you, God's going to get what's left, and you ain't going to like where you're going. Understand, we're here. In every one of our closets is one of those bags. They call it a B bag, and it's there because it's got all our best shit ready to put on to come forward and take care of business. And we keep it well oiled, and we keep all the gear in clean shape, and the canteens are all ready to put water in, and we're not playing. Now, why do you suppose those boys keep those bags in their closet?
Well, gee, I hope for the right reasons.
Oh.
It would be a
real good idea if you boys that are thinking about a takeover probably shouldn't go there. Probably should not go there. So I'm telling you, it ain't going to fly, and you're probably going to die. This is America. We're keeping it. You can take two choices. You can ignore that warning, or you can keep playing your BS games. But I'm telling you, you're going to reach a point, and when you do and them bags come out of them closets, you better be ready, because that guy that has that beret on is going to be a mean mother. And you are not going to be able to talk to him, hey, neighbor, can we talk? The only thing you're going to hear from him is, and
sounds like an animal.
You're going to be in deep doo-doo when you hear that, as many Kong who did get to hear that.
Oh, the Constitution says that, somebody can be convicted of treason if there's two or more witnesses and so forth. Now, we got probably 300 million witnesses to treason of the Constitution.
Well, I'm instructing people right now to go into court and file those charges, and the charge begins at Title 18 United States Code, Section 2381. And you go to Title 18 United States Code, Section 2382. Then you go to Title 18 United States Code, Section 2383. And the same, 2384, 2385. And when you start reading these things and you realize, my God, these guys have been doing this all the time. And they are actually going to courts right now. Next Tuesday, I have one going to the United States Federal Court here, and they're filing charges against 3 judges. So I'm telling you, we are bringing forward this stuff. But do understand, God only made 24 hours in a day, and everybody else wants to put 48 hours of work in 24 hours, and it don't work too good. Believe me, I've been trying it for years. You get really sick.
Yeah.
So we're going as fast as we can, but you got to realize there's only a handful of guys like me, and there's hundreds and thousands of people out there. I need more help. I really need more guys.
Well, we're here to help you. I mean, Greg and I got several other people that I didn't know you were doing that, and this is why this call is good. I have a website, We Are Us, because I want people around the country to start getting together in their community and start networking with
start filing complaints.
And start filing complaints. I mean, I'm right behind you.
Yep. You just want to have a little bit of fun. Just go into court in a nice dressed suit or a gal in her nice work clothes and take a yellow pad and just start writing down everything that goes on. And pretty soon the bailiff will come up and say, and what case are you here for? And just say, oh, I'm just casually court watching for the day. And boy, everything in that courtroom will change immediately, because they'll just assume you're in the Bar Association. They'll just assume you're checking up on the judge and what goes on there to make sure everything is copacetic. And it doesn't take much. You just dress up, take you one of them yellow legal pads and sit down there and write down everything and just stare intently at what the procedures are and what's going. And I promise you, you're going to see a big change in that courtroom. All of a sudden, everybody gets treated real nice. All of a sudden, everybody gets their due process. All of a sudden, everybody gets given every benefit of the break. And that's real simple to do, and everybody could do it. Just take a couple of people and go sit down there in your best suit and or dress and just take your yellow pad and go in there and just be very courteous and attentive and look serious, like you're serious as a heart attack. Pretty soon the bailiff will come up to you and say, "And why are you here today?" Well, I'm casually doing a court watch program today. We're with the Court Watchers Association, and all of a sudden they'll clean it up big time. You won't see nobody talked down to. You won't see nobody swearing at nobody. You won't hear any unless the judge is just a complete idiot.
All you have to do is say we're from the YouTube group.
Yeah, there you go. Or you could say, I'm from the Judicial Watch.
Yeah.
Some of the states out west, Idaho is one, I think they have a Judicial Watch where they actually go out and they do a report card on the judge, and they actually report it in books. You can actually find out the judicial temperament. In other states, they have what's called the Tom Thumb books, or Who's Who of Judges. And you go down there and it'll tell you everything about the judge, what school he went to, what kind of grades he got, everything. What his judicial temperament is, whether he's serious on the Constitution, whether he's just, screwing around. And that's in any library. It's called the Tom Thumb books, or Who's Who of Judges. Now, the bottom line is, these guys have gotten away with all this stuff because we kind of got lazy and put it in the hands of other people and just assumed it was being taken care of, but it wasn't. And so now we have this serious problem, and these people have gotten away with it so long, they just assume that it's going to go on forever. So we have got to start showing up regular, like, it's like when the cat's away, the mice play, you know what I'm saying? Well, it's time for the cat to start showing up more often, and maybe then they'll decide, oh, we're being watched. I guess I better clean up my act. See, that's a very vital part of our duty as our part of the government. We're the oversight committee, and we're watching. Guess what? They do make some effort to clean up their act, and that's very important, okay? And I can tell you, I'm about to burn 3 judges real bad next week. They're going to wish to God they had never pulled what they pulled. It was a terrible foreclosure. They took this couple, and you cannot believe. They had built a house. They had already paid for the land. They had literally put 3/4 of the house up. They only needed a little more money to finish, okay? So they went out and got a construction loan to finish, and they had to pay it back within a year and what have you. So they met their burden, and they paid it back. And then the bank promised faithfully that they would turn around and put this into a full-fledged regular mortgage, okay, so that they would make a house payment. Well, then the bank, all of a sudden, the year was up, and they had paid faithfully all this time. Well, then when the year was up, they turned around and let them believe, you're going to get your coupon book any day now. We'll have this all worked out, and then they're going to put it into the mortgage, and you'll have a 30-year mortgage at a fixed rate. Well, guess what? They lied. And for the next 6 months, they stalled this couple. And for the next 6 months, all of a sudden, they're coming and telling, well, you defaulted on your mortgage. What mortgage? We never got a mortgage. We've been waiting on a mortgage all this time. Meanwhile, they were paying the house payment of almost $2,000 a month every month for 6 months. Well, they took off with that $2,000 and embezzled it. So at the end of 6 months, we're talking $12,000 here. They didn't miss payment one. And now we end up in court on a foreclosure where they're trying to steal their $500,000 horse farm. Now, would you believe that something like that could happen here in America? But it did.
Yeah.
Right in Sandusky, Michigan. And these judges are in it right up to their eyeballs, and they're going to have a rude shock when the marshals come out next week, because I'm naming every one of them. And they're going to find out.
It'll be interesting to see how that turns out.
Well, they're going to find out. I'm the one their mama told. Don't never screw with that one. That one will get you. That one will run to the sun with his drawers soaked in gasoline. Probably ought to fix that one.
I'd love to be there as a cheering squad, I tell you.
Well, it'll probably be on the front page of every paper because I filed a $500 billion lawsuit and named all the parties, including the judges. So you're going to see it. It'll be all over the paper, or they'd better get their head out of their ass and fix it. And they got till Tuesday at the close of business. And they'd better get ready to make a big check out to this couple. Because I have sat up many a night with this gal in absolute tears. She's been put through god-awful hell, and she busted her ass, and she has a beautiful horse farm here, and they stole it, literally stole it. But they're not getting away with it. They're going to get busted, and I'm going to make double damn sure this one goes all the way to the Supreme Court if that's what it takes. And they'd better just figure it out. And if you judges think you're going to get out of this one, do me a favor. Make the argument that you got judicial immunity. I love it when you do that. You got no judicial immunity. You're deemed to be an expert on the law. You're supposed to advise us of the law. You can hardly claim that you acted in good faith when you willfully deny somebody their basic constitutional rights. You certainly can't plead ignorance of the law because a citizen can't plead ignorance of the law. That would make the law look stupid. Now, how does a learned jurist, doctor, judge say that they're ignorant of the law? Therefore, judicial immunity is denied. Look up Owens v. City of Independence, 100 Supreme Court, 1398, and Maine v. Thibodeau, 100 Supreme Court, 2502. You got no immunity for violating somebody's constitutional rights, and in Hafer v. Melo, you can be sued in your personal capacity. Now, what do you want to bet you can be sued, and you're going to get sued if you don't fix this? You got till the close of business, boys, on Tuesday. I'd highly recommend you read the briefs very carefully. I will attach everything you own, bank, business, and home. You will not get a job picking garbage. You won't be able to get bonded by anybody. You will not be able to practice law because your license will be jerked. Now, mess with the best, and you're going to find out. Airborne, out the door. This ranger don't know the meaning of the word quit. Quit is not a ranger word. We don't quit, ever. We just keep coming. In Vietnam, when they found us, they'd cut us up into sections and divide us over 8 provinces because they were scared we were devils, and that we'd come back to life. That's how they feared us in Vietnam. So you better fix it. And that's my honest warning to you. Fix it. Now,
how exciting. I'd love to know. You got to make sure you let us know how that turns out, what happens.
I'll let you know how it comes out. But if you see on the front page of every paper across the country, Sandusky County sued for $500 billion, you'll know who the guy is.
Yeah, but you know what? They usually put the kibosh on those kind of headlines. They black out those types of things. They don't want.
I already got the news guy already tipped off. He's waiting. He's waiting for me to give him the story. He's just waiting with bated breath.
Oh, well, we'll get it on YouTube.
The guy who is the Free Press, the head of the Free Press here, and he goes after judges, crooked judges like stink on doo-doo. And he said, Carl, you get me a story. I'll make sure it's in writing. Okay.
Fabulous.
So it's already ready to go. These guys just need to understand they got 2 choices. They can go to church on Sunday, get their heart right with God, and then do the right thing on Tuesday, and they'll be secure. They'll be safe. But if they don't, the world is going to come down on them like stink on doo-doo, and they had better figure that out real quick. Because I'm the one their mama warned them. Don't ever screw with that one. That one comes back from the dead regular life. That's what my mother told the CO when he called her and told her I was dead. And she kind of, shucked and said, well, you got a body? And the CO says, no, ma'am, we don't have a body yet, but we will have. The CAV always goes and gets their people. We'll make sure you get your son's body. She says, well, when you got a body, call me back. He says, other than that, you ain't got shit. And he just busted out laughing. He says, I know where you get your grit from. I said, where is that, sir? He says, from your ma. She's a trip. I really like the hell out of her. She told me if I didn't have a body, I didn't have shit. And 4 days later, I walked out of the jungle. And so he calls up the radio, and he tells the tower at Fook, then have his ma on the phone. We'll be there in 20 minutes, And he goes, and what if I don't? He says, I'll tell my Cobra gunships to make a gun run on your tower. He says, you wouldn't do that. And the next thing you know, these Cobras are coming out of the sun right for his tower. And he goes, all right, we'll get her on the phone. And sure enough, when we got there, she was on the phone. She says, I knew you was too mean to get dead. He says, I told that commanding officer of yours he'll be back just like a bad penny. He always comes back. So they were glad. They were glad. And then I had to go and get shots from the medics. So they give me a shot, and it's experimental flu shot. See, they always take the soldiers and the veterans, and they give them the experiment. We'll test it on the veterans, you know. They did that in Gulf War. They did it in Iraq. You know, we'll get them to test. We'll test the medicine on them. If it works for them, it'll work for everybody. You know. Anyway, next thing you know, the room started spinning. Next thing you know, my head was just off the floor, and bam, I was out. When I came to, that CO, the one that said I love the smell of napalm in the morning, was rolling his brand new Model 19 Combat Magnum 357 with the hand-carved bone handle in his hand, and you could hear it going click, 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 and he says, Doc, that kid has been shot down 4 times. He's been left for dead twice. He just now walked out of Cambodia with 2 regiments of North Vietnamese on his ass, and if I got to call his mama one more time and tell her he's dead, I'm going to blow your frickin' head clean off. You got me, Doc? He says he's got to get killed by you frickin' medics with a flu shot? What are you, shitting me? So I came to, and boy, that doctor was, man, don't never take a shot like that again. You ever take a shot like that again, it'll kill you. He says, I'm putting a red tag on your dog tags. Anybody tries to give you a shot, you tell them screw off and die. Don't take no shots, okay? So I can tell you this kind of stuff is all serious business. We're actually writing a book right now. It's called Just a Friend of the Family. And it tells all of these tales all the way back through Vietnam, and it talks about, in the front cover of the book, there's a guy getting ready to walk in the courthouse with this little sonny boy, and as he passes the coat room, this briefcase just kind of comes out of the coat room door and hands it to him as he passes by, and the kid goes, who's that, Daddy? He says, never mind, just a friend of the family. He gets in and opens the briefcase and pulls the papers out and hands them to the prosecutor, and the prosecutor goes, oh, shit. And the judge goes, there couldn't be 2 of them guys, and he says, apparently we know where these papers come from, Judge. This actually happened in a court of record in Michigan. And the judge goes, I'm going to have to let this guy go. And he says, I see that, Your Honor. We'll have to do a nolo prosequi. And so they dismissed all the charges. But that was a true story. It actually happened. And I handed him the briefcase, and as he walked into court, he handed the prosecutor the papers, and they had to drop everything. So, and this book is going to tell all of these fabulous stories about typing up a brief to the United States Supreme Court. I read a certiorari 12 below zero outside the barn, and the cow comes over and behind my neck butts its head on my back, and oh, Cowie, baby, go lay down. Daddy's got to type a brief to the Supreme Court. Now go lay down. That's a good girl. That's a good girl. And people came in the barn to feed the cow and just busted out laughing. Cowie, are you bothering Pops? Leave Pops alone. He's got to type a brief to the Supreme Court. It was funnier than hell. And Cowie's sitting over there chewing big stalks of corn, silage, going, I could tell you these tales for days and days. This went on for years and years and years. Here I am. Nope, I'm over here. No, wait, I'm over here. Nope, I'm in the barn typing up this thing. You just could never tell where I would show up or where I would be. But wherever I did, I was dropping it to him, boy, every time. And we're going to drop it to him next Tuesday. I would highly recommend you boys go to church on Sunday, because God wants to talk to you bad. You've been messing up bad. You need to get
there's some people in line with their hand up. Would you like to answer a few questions?
Yeah, let's do questions. I like to help people that are jammed.
Go ahead, East Maryland. Is that you, Ron?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I forgot what I was going to say now.
Think about it.
Hey, Carl, you ain't the only one who's got that bag in the closet. Believe me when I tell you. And you know what the politicians going to find out? They're going to wish they had done 3 or 4 or 5 years.
Well, they had better understand that when that bag comes out of the closet, there's going to be no screwing around.
We're serious.
There's going to be no screwing around.
That's right. Let them bring those Chinese over here. Let them bring those Chinese zipper-head little son of a bitches over here to put us in the FEMA camps. They're going to find out they're going to be in the FEMA camps along with the politicians. And by the way, I don't believe that story Termarsh told me about.
You didn't hear. You didn't hear. We don't take prisoners. Didn't you hear that? We don't take prisoners. There's not going to be any camps for them. We don't take prisoners.
Yeah.
They need to understand that. If that bag comes out of the closet, we don't take prisoners.
Okay, is that it for you, Ron?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
Hey, how are you doing, Ron boy? Because I haven't heard from you in a while. Is everything okay?
Well, you've been real busy, and then you've been telling Termar stories about these 56 deer sitting on your back porch waiting to bring the funeral.
Yeah, you're just jealous as hell. I counted 51. 51 deer the other day, 51. Right within 20 yards of my door. Yeah, Dave, I saw Dave just the other day. Matter of fact, I got to get back with him today because I got some papers I got to get to him, and they've been screwing with my internet bad. But yeah, we're trying to do like the doc says and rest and get my mind right and get out in the sunshine more. And you need to get you look so pale. You look like you're death warmed over. Sit out in the chair in the sunshine. You know, none of these vitamins and pills work.
About the cancer.
What? Yeah, he did.
He gave it to you?
Yeah. Listen to what he has to tell you about me, how my color has improved and how I'm looking good.
He did. He told me all that.
Oh, okay. So I'm trying my very best. The wounds are incredibly healed, but it's not the wounds that are bothering me. It's the damn nerve damage, the neuropathy.
Well, you know, that is caused by antioxidants, and it will take some time, but the product you're taking, I believe, of course I can't make claims, but I believe that you're on the road to success. And,
well, you can talk to Dave. He'll tell you my color has improved so incredibly from taking that product.
Well, Dave and I are working together on that, and that's why, you know, this is Chappie. I've been trying to get with you, but I know you're busy, and
we're running like fiends.
I know, and Dave and I have been trying. We want to do a three-way with you because I need to discuss more about that with you.
And plus, I've been doing my walks every day. I've been getting out and walking down the country road, and I've been over to the horse pen, and I've been petting the horses and feeding them apples, and I've been being a good boy. Doc would be proud. Doc would be real proud. I've been being a good boy.
Reading all these stories up there about these attacks with bear. I hope you carry on your Bowie knife.
Oh, I got that Bowie knife. I'm ready to take that Bowie knife and jam it someplace real good next Tuesday. I'm telling you what, these bums, they think they're getting away with this shit. They're not getting away with jack. And guess what we found out? The banks that are doing this, I got 11 banks on this, and not one of them is a legal bank. They haven't been a legal bank since 2004. So how are they foreclosing in 2009 and 10 and 11? Want to tell me how that happened?
Now, you're saying since 2004. Why 2004?
Because that's when they went out of business and told the FDIC they went out of business.
Oh, really?
Oh, really? So how are they still foreclosing on people in 2009, 10, and 11? Want to tell me how that's going on?
Okay, I got a question.
And when the judge found out about it, guess what the judge did? He got absolutely furious with the banks and said, you don't even have the right to come into this court and make a complaint.
Wow. Hey, Carl, why would the banks go out of business?
Because they declared themselves out of business. They declared themselves out of business. They declared themselves out of business. They went out of business.
Yeah, I understand, but why would they do it? That's why I'm.
Because they were bankrupt.
Okay. And that was protect themselves from something, I suppose.
Also,
when they declared themselves
the government was on their ass like stink on doo-doo, and they were literally getting ready to cut something important off and feed it to them. So they wimped out and went out of business.
Okay, so they were forced into this.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Which is good news for us, right?
Yes. Because I'll tell you what, I'm going to make an example of the bastards. They have been so heartless with what they've done, you know.
Yeah.
To tell you about this woman, she is such a phenomenal person. She really is. And all the animals up here, I've told her, I'm telling you, them animals can read your thoughts. You think I'm bullshitting you, but I'm telling you for sure. I've been a woodsman all my life. And when two coons come out of the woods and come up to you and the sick one presents himself and lets you put him in a cat carrier and take him to town to the veterinarian and come back, and when you hand it back to him, the other coon comes back out of the woods and puts his arm around the other one like they're consoling each other, like, give me a break. Wild raccoons just don't come up to regular folks like that. Trust me, I know. And they come to her house in the middle of the night and camp on the rail and set off the alarm that somebody's at the door because they want to talk to her. Do you understand? And I've actually stood there at the door, opened the door, and talked to them. Hi there, little raccoon. What are you doing? And they sit there chattering away, like, you don't look like Susan, But this is how she is with the animals. I mean, I was with her the other day. We were riding town to the doctor's, and there was a turtle in the middle of the damn road, and she rips off the highway, pulls like it got us in a wreck, pulls off the highway, runs over there, jumps out in the middle of traffic, grabs this little turtle in her little hands, and runs it across to the ditch line where the water was and puts the damn turtle in the water. I couldn't believe that somebody would go to that much trouble. But she says, he knew exactly what I was doing. I could tell. He was even pointing where he wanted me to put him, I says, come on, girl. I says, how long have you been having these delusions? And she says, no, they tell me. I really do believe that she can talk to the animals, and I have seen cases of this before, especially of a little boy down in Brazil, and he could even walk up to poisonous snakes that if you walked up to him, they'd bite the fire out of you, you know what I'm saying? But he could actually walk up to him and pet him. Now, you guys may think I'm full of hoodoo, but I'm telling you, there are people that have these talents. I believe at one time we all had these talents, but because of abuse, God took them away. But some people are incredibly telepathic.
Yeah.
And I believe that these animals, the deer come right out in her yard. She can walk right out there, and they don't even take off. You know what I'm saying? No, she's special. She's very special. We can't let these guys get away with this.
We have another question.
We can't let these guys get away with this. We want to put the fear of God Almighty on their butt. They can't throw this woman out in the cold, and her horses and her animals.
No.
So.
Might.
All right, we got another question.
Yeah. I was going to say also, though, you might want to contact John Stewart and get some insight from him before you go to court if, you think.
Okay, well, whatever we can do, we're going to put it to them. But I'm declaring them bankrupt. If they don't get real smart, I'm going to pull out that trafficant report, and I'm going to stuff it right where the sun don't shine. And every time I do that, they get very tense. When I tell that prosecutor, you cannot even speak, sir, he says, and how do you figure that? I says, well, you're not a trustee of the bankruptcy court, are you? What? I have your card right here, sir. It doesn't say trustee of the bankruptcy court. Matter of fact, you don't even have a really good card. It doesn't have raised letters. If you were a trustee of the bankruptcy court, it would have raised letters. I told the judge that, and I handed her the card. He's not a trustee of the bankruptcy court. He can't speak for a bankrupt entity. And this prosecutor goes, you have got to be kidding. I said, sir, I never joke about law. Law is deadly serious to me. She turned and told him to shut up and sit down. She'd handle everything. She turned to the others, to the deputy, and says, release him in his own recognizance. I'm releasing him. I order him released immediately. And may I say, sir, you're one of the finest Americans I've ever had in my courtroom. And I'm letting him go on his own recognizance. What do you think of that? And the state trooper got up and said, but, Your Honor, you can't do that. She says, I'm the judge. I can do any damn thing I want.
Wow.
So they let me go.
Wow.
I'm telling you, they're all bankrupt. Has everybody got that out there in TV land? A bankrupt entity is civilly dead. They don't exist. They don't even have a right to come in and turn the lights on. So how is this persecutor talking? How can he even talk? He's not a trustee of the bankruptcy court. Ask him, are you a trustee of the bankruptcy court? And he'll go, no. I says, well, he doesn't have a right to even speak, Judge. He's not a trustee. The only one that can talk on behalf of...
Where would we find this information that the banks declared themselves out of business in 2004?
All right, go to FDIC. Go to the FDIC and look up First Place Bank or Franklin Bank. Tell them you want to know all the history between First Place Bank and Franklin Bank and Trust and First Place Bank and savings and loan. Just start there. You're going to run into about 11 to 12 different banks.
First Place Bank.
Yeah, they keep changing their name to try and shuffle the deck. First Place Bank is one you want to look up. You want to look up Franklin Bank is another one, and they operate out of their main headquarters in Ohio. But they have an office here in Southfield, Michigan, and they are defrauding people bad, unbelievably bad. They're even sued by their own bank trustees and their own bank investors. Right now they have about 8 or 9 big lawsuits in federal court against them. They're worse than what Wachovia Bank or American Bank of America or any of these banks. And people go in there and they think they can trust these people and that they're going to do right by them, and they scam the hell out of the public. Now come and sue me, boys. I double dare you. I triple dare you. Because I got your whole file from the FDIC. I got the whole thing. And when that federal judge gets a hold of you, you're going to be in deep doo-doo. Deep. And you're doing this in interstate commerce. It's RICO. You're running a criminal enterprise for
absolutely RICO.
And I'm RICOing your ass next week. Have a nice day. Have a nice day. And
how exciting. I think that's exciting.
I'm going to burn their ass. I'm going to burn them bad. I'm going to burn them bad. They're going to wish they never heard of Carl Miller. Oh, boy, I'm going to burn them bad.
I hope you have people watching your back, honey.
Oh, I do. And they're the best kind of people you'd ever want to have. And if I don't check with them every day, you cannot believe what would happen. The last time, all right? First
I wish I could be there to watch his back.
Right,
yeah, me too, you know.
Look up First Franklin Corporation, holding company for First Place Bank. Go to FDIC and look that up and watch what happens. And then all of a sudden they're going to hand you off to the supervisor because they are really upset about this. And how did you ever find out about this? It doesn't matter how I found out about it. The fact is I found out about it, and now you're made aware of it. Now you're going to fix it. Oh, yeah, we're going to fix it. So everybody out there, go dial up First Franklin Corporation, a holding company for all First Place Banks, or Franklin Bank, or First Place Bank and Trust, or First Place Bank and Trust and Savings. I mean, these people, and guess where they come from? Give a guess. They aren't even American. They're Australian. What do you think of that? They're not even an American bank.
Australia is a corporation filed in D.C.
Well, guess
an American. Well, they do everything we do. I mean, they even their Congress people quote verbatim speeches in their house as we do here. I mean, and you can watch proof of that on YouTube. But anyway,
next week,
we have another.
Next week, the jig is up. Next week, boys, the jig is up. And then you're going to be on all kind of television and radio. And then you're going to find out nobody wants to come in the doors of your bank no more. And then you're going to find out everybody wants to sue you. Why are you all doing? 'Cause we won't, Stu. So you better be right. You better be honest. You better be dealing with people. And guess who this all gets back to? Give a guess. Give a guess who is in charge of all of this shimmy check. What do you bet? Merrill Lynch. Merrill Lynch and Company. Merrill Lynch is the chief shysters that are behind this. Merrill Lynch Mortgage Investors Incorporated. Go figure, huh? And who is Merrill Lynch hooked up with?
Prison Industries of America.
Yeah. You
and
got
others.
it. Toyota.
Lockheed Martin.
Yeah. Lockheed Martin.
Well.
What else? Chase.
All the judges.
JP Morgan.
All the judges' retirement is invested in all those companies.
Yes, I think
anyway, we have another question.
All right, let's
we
go.
Take,
you want to stay
go
rolling?
ahead.
Keep going.
Go ahead, Mighty Mo.
Oh, thank you, Angela. I'm just tossing at the bit. This is Mighty Mo from God's Country, Missouri.
Oh, yeah, I know right where that Missouri River. I know where that Missouri River goes. I do. I've been right there.
Well, I got a couple
in the woods,
of questions.
Missouri.
Lost in the woods, that's right. And a couple of questions. Okay, you're going to go in with the bankruptcy using the Clearfield Doctrine.
We're doing
that
too.
much.
Yeah,
I'm asking you. But, okay, now, Howard has been thumping on breach of fiduciary duty and breach of trust, and we need to go with that.
We did that too.
Now, I want to bring up something a gentleman here in Missouri used, Paul Andrew Mitchell's material that he listened to on Angela's show. And I've got one of his packets where he had sent off, this is so huge for the people. They need to first go listen to that show on Angela of Paul Andrew Mitchell. Number 2, do what Paul Andrew Mitchell said to do by getting the proper credentials for that judge, that sitting judge on the bench. If he does not have the 4 things.
Guess what? They have changed judges 3 times on us.
Well,
3 times they've changed
you'd
judges.
be impressed, Carl. I wish I could get you a copy of this. I wish I could get it up on the Internet, but I've got to redact his name and ask his permission.
Well,
but
take his name out.
You should see one of these packets. But Now, I really do have a question. Okay, should we go with the bankruptcy and breach of fiduciary duty? What else should we hit him with?
Go after his bond. Go after his bond. Now, here's how you do that.
Okay.
You go to the treasurer. Here's what these judges are pulling. They're really rotten. A normal city or township, they have to have a surety, okay, or they can't even open the door and turn the lights on. Now, most people usually go, in Michigan, they go to Meadowbrook Mutual Insurance Group, or they go to Farmers Insurance Group, or they go to Lloyd's of London, or they go to, what is the name of that outfit out of Ann Arbor? It's called Meadowbrook Mutual Insurance Group. And see, they have to be indemnified. Okay, now normally this is an indemnification for employee theft. If the employees get caught stealing, then they of course, the city has to compensate the parties that are injured, okay? So normally that's what happens. Now, under MCLA, Michigan Compiled Laws Act 8511, the judge is supposed to go get his own bond. He's supposed to have his own bond surety for the performance of his office, and he's supposed to pay for it out of his own funds. Well, they get the taxpayers at the local township or city to pay this. They say that he has a bond, that he's bonded under this corporate indemnification plan. That's not what the law says. The law says he shall indemnify himself with a bond. That's what it says in MCLA 8511. And he has 10 days to do that from the date of the election or his appointment, okay? Now, what they're doing is they're shimmy checking. They put the bond under the employee's theft bond, and then they say, well, he has a bond, but then they won't tell you how to get it and attach it. Well, it's because he doesn't really, and then when you search his name, you won't find it under his name because it's under the city's name. Do you understand?
Yeah.
The city is indemnifying their employees. Then he is pretending like he's one of their employees, but technically he's not. He's his own employee because the court is a corporation. Do you understand? They are their own corporate entity. They're supposed to maintain their own bonds and their own sureties, okay?
Hey, Andy,
so when you go and try and attach it, you can't attach it.
Back up off the mic. You're breathing into it. I'm sorry. Carl, meet Andy. Andy, meet Carl.
Hi, Carl.
Hello?
How are you, Carl?
Can you hear me? I'm fine.
Right.
Back up off your mic a little bit, Andy. We're breathing into it, Angela said.
Okay.
Okay, how's that?
All right. I can hear you fine.
Yeah, just move it away from your nose a little bit if you can. Because
I got it about 3 inches away.
It's not you.
No, I was talking to Andy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I am. I get any further away, I won't be able to hear anything.
Yeah, exactly. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Right.
My hearing's getting a little bad, so I got to kind of fudge it a little bit.
Yeah, I think, that's a sign of getting old. Your eyes go, your teeth go.
Well, I'll be 85 in August, so I'm getting old.
Well, hey, you're doing good for 85.
Oh,
He's in the fight, Carl.
You better believe I've been in a fight.
I'm almost 70. I really feel, hey, I maximize the use of that. Because my parents didn't live past 48 and 61. So
Carl, a group of us in 1996 fought the state of Missouri through Lincoln County. I got railroaded into prison for 12 months. Went back. They took us back for trial the second time, which double jeopardy. But they wouldn't recognize it under Smith versus North Carolina, and they wouldn't recognize it. And I went through the trial a second time, and they set me back for 20 more months in the Missouri Department of Corrections. So what you've been saying about the bonds, we tried to get their bonds,
they won't give them to you.
They covered them up just like you were talking about.
Just like I'm telling you, yeah.
You better believe it.
So here's what you do. You file a complaint with the treasurer against the bond or the supposed bond or what it is, and you claim that the judge did steal, that he committed the theft of your rights.
Right.
What an idea, huh? Then they can bring up the theft bond, you see.
I'm so proud of people like you that got the youth and the energy and are uncovering this. You're the Americans, and we there's a lot of good people in this fight. If they could all get organized and get on the same page,
we just got to get organized.
It'd be one formidable force.
I want everybody in the next 10 days to be on your congressman's phone and bugging the hell out of him about this mortgage problem. We've got to get this mortgage problem fixed, or we're going to be in World War III. Now, let's get real here, people. You can only throw so many women and kids out on the street,
That's right.
Let's get real here. They're living in cardboard boxes under bridge overpass. This is ridiculous.
Carl, they're committing suicide and murder because they're so devastated, okay?
I understand. I do.
I
want their hide on a wall.
The two things that drive these people is greed, and they've got massive ultra egos.
Well, they had better understand we're coming. I put that beret back on. You better be right with God, because you're going to get a chance to talk to him.
You better believe it. And I wish I could be there in court with you Tuesday, because I'd sure love to cover your back.
You just be patient. I got people covering my back like you wouldn't believe.
No, but I'd like to be there.
That's good to know.
All right, you put me in your prayers. Everybody out there, put me in your prayers.
Will do.
I want the prayer pool going everywhere. I want the prayer pool going everywhere.
Will
Go
do.
to church on Sunday and you say your prayers and you put the prayer pool on these people, these devils. God needs to come down here and clean house right now, not to be telling God what to do, but we really need to get these people on the carpet. So I'm making a prayer. In Jesus' name I pray. Bring forth your holy angels. Bring forth Michael the Archangel. Bring forth Gabriel of the Light. Come down here and take these godless, evil bastards to their just reward. Take them to judgment, O holy God. In Jesus' name I pray. Now come get them, God.
Amen.
Let them understand that God is not screwing around.
Absolutely.
I want to burn their ass. I want to burn them bad.
Carl, I've been telling
everybody
people...
put the word out far and wide. I'm going to get on Jack's program tonight, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to make sure they understand. You mess with the best, you die like the rest.
Right. I've been telling people for years that evil always destroys itself. But look at the heartache, misery that they cause along the way.
Exactly, and those poor people never recover, a lot of them.
That's right.
I want to burn their ass. You tell everybody, I want everybody praying all week this week. I want them people to feel the wrath of Almighty God breathing right down their neck.
I was in the Marine Corps in World War II in Korea. I know exactly what you're talking about.
You know, Chesty Puller, and what did them newsmen get?
I served under Chesty.
Then you know. And when the news guy asked him, well, are you retreating? He said, hell no, we're just attacking in another direction.
You got it. You got it.
Don't mess with Americans. You don't mess with Americans. Americans are best by test. Don't mess with Americans.
That's right.
Fair advice.
You got that right.
They sent these Russians over here to Michigan, and they thought, hey, we'll just put you out here at Camp Grayling, and nobody will know the difference. Well, guess what? 80 of them Russians got shot. 3 of their helicopters got blown to smithereens. Their headquarters got burned to the ground. And they left. Now, I think Colorado ought to pick up the message on that, and when they bring them Russians over to Colorado, they ought to send the same message back. You bring your Russians over here to mess with our Colorado, here's what's going to happen. We're going to send them back in a box.
One of the reasons, Carl, we're having the problems that we have, though, is the lousy, rotten news media. If they reported the facts to the American people would have been in a lot better shape than they are.
Notice that the American people never got word of that little demise in Camp Grayling, Michigan.
I never heard of it.
It all got quieted down. The only reason I heard about it is because one of the firemen that responded from Roscommon that saw the 800-gallon pig go over the moon and responded to the fire 27 miles away. Now,
you got it.
Know this. You come to Michigan and you try this takeover shit, you ain't going to believe what's going to happen. You ain't going to believe what's going to happen. There is a Green Beret general, 5 combat tours in a row, Republic of Vietnam.
Uh-huh.
You ain't getting past him or his people. They are very well trained. Extremely well trained.
Got another general that's on our side, General Boykin.
I think there's a lot of generals out there that've been to that Carl Miller school, that special school that General MacArthur set up.
Absolutely.
You boys underestimate America, you're going to get the shock of your lifetime. Trust me. And I'm telling you, at 9 below zero, I went to the meeting up there, and the snow right to my crack in my tail, and they're sitting there all in white ski suits, just like they do in the Netherlands, all armed to the teeth, talking about change, and all I heard was present arms, and I hear, and I'm going, whoa, I haven't seen snap like that since OCS at Fort Benning, Georgia. Those
There you go.
Crack troops. Crack.
There you go.
Now, you go messing with them boys, and you're going to find out. You bring your Russians over here, you're going to find out. Don't bring your Chinese, your Russians. Don't bring nobody. You just stay home and play cards.
Carl, I've always said that, and I've always felt that because I know the American people.
That's right.
You better believe it.
By touch.
And you know some of the greatest people I've ever known in my life? The people I served with.
There you go.
You don't get any better.
And they come from everywhere. Farms,
you better believe it.
Cities,
you better believe it.
Towns, little Johnny from the department store in Little Sioux City, everywhere. Federal department store.
I love those guys.
Idaho,
I love those guys. They were my brothers.
And I love it when they're getting ready to put the shit to them, and they all got that big shit grin on their face, like, are we going to stand for that? And all of a sudden you see this big shit grin on every one of their faces. And I go, did I tell a joke? Did I tell anything funny? Why are you boys all laughing? Get that smile off your face. And go look at that movie, Full Metal Jacket, and see when that guy says, get that smile off your face. He says, I can't. He punched him right in the stomach. Remember that? He says, how about now? Can you get it off your face now? See, they come to battle like that, honey. They come to battle like that with that big shit grin. That's what's the best.
You betcha.
Come on down. Make my day. Let's do it. I love it when in World War II, and they come down to that general of that 173rd Airborne and that 82nd Airborne. You going to surrender? And the guy just sent him one word back. Nuts.
There's never been any better soldiers in the world.
Come get us.
World War II, Korea, Vietnam.
Come get us, boys.
You
Make
better believe
my day. Make my day.
Okay,
Come get us.
Okay,
Carl.
That's it.
Constitution Man, someone's asking, they want to know the name of the court you're going to be at on Tuesday?
No, we're not giving that out. We're not giving that out. There's a bunch of reasons why, for security reasons.
Yeah,
plus, we're not doing that because they'll use that as an excuse to cancel the hearing, and we need the hearing.
You got that right.
So we don't want, and we've done that before, and it always backfires on us. And then they'll say, well, you created the problem. You put all these people here, So we had to cancel for security reasons. No, I want them to have to rule on this one.
You never tell the enemy what you're going to do.
They're not getting out of it.
Wouldn't
so you just lay back, and if you see it on the front page of all of the papers across the country, you'll know.
Absolutely.
And other than that, I'll call you and tell you. Thursday night.
You never tell the enemy what you're going to do.
No, you always let them wonder.
You better believe it.
And then you tell them how bad it's going to be. And then you take your bagpipes out like Ranger Ron does. Tell Ranger Ron, I would like to hear them bagpipes playing Amazing Grace. He sent the video. I got the video, but I got no bagpipes.
You got that right.
Do you know why the Scottish Black Watch did that? Do you know what the significance of that song is?
No.
It was a war song. 'Tis an amazing grace. You're still standing there with your head on, Jack. That's what it meant. When they start playing that Amazing Grace on them bagpipes, it's 'tis an amazing grace. You're still standing there with your head on because our claymore is a huge sword.
Yes, it is.
One swing, and your head just comes right off.
Right.
'Tis an amazing thing. You're still standing there with your head on, and they play that right before battle.
Very proud people.
Very proud. Now, we need that spirit of the Black Watch. We need that spirit, that gung-ho spirit.
You got that right.
Best by test. Airborne, out the door. We got any more questions? Let's get some questions going here. I want to beat them up bad. I want to do a double whammy. I want to hurt them.
Okay, Go ahead.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Anybody got a question? Let's do it.
Yeah,
stand up, hook up. Shuffle through the door. Jump right out, and we'll count to 4.
Hey, this is Jerry Stanton out of Allen, Michigan. I've tried to get a hold of you a couple times, Carl. Never.
Well, you got to understand, I get about 1,500 to 2,000 emails a day.
Okay, no, that's okay. They locked me up. They locked me up just like they did you with a mental institution.
Oh, really?
Because they couldn't beat me in court. They locked me up for 72 days.
Which one are you at? Which one?
Kellogg Community.
Kellogg,
Psych
that's
Center.
in Grand Rapids. Okay.
Just a second. Battle Creek.
Yeah, Battle Creek.
Psych Center. And they locked me up in Branch County Jail. They kidnapped me right out of the parking lot in Home Depot and Coldwater.
Yeah.
And they've taken my car
That's
twice.
their style. That's their style.
Yeah, Coldwater's terrible. But anyways, with my brother Dwayne, he's had his house taken. We took it all the way through federal court, and they broke every law humanly possible. I put public notices in the paper. Well, we both signed them under oath and showed exactly what the banks were doing.
Now, have you tried a waiver of tort?
No, I haven't, but I'll write that down now.
Why don't you give me your email, and I'll send you a waiver of tort, and you can try that one next. They usually will back off on that one.
Farm / or
what is it now? Give it to me slow here. I'm going to write all this down now. Farm / okay.
Stone STONE @yahoo.com.
Stone STONE
STON like rock. Stone.
Okay, STONE.
At yahoo.com.
At yahoo.com.
That's farm _ @ yahoo.com.
Okay. All right, I got it.
Now, the
Jerry,
house has
Jerry,
been,
right?
The house has been
Jerry?
Yes, Jerry. It's Jerry Stan. The house has been gone and taken for a year and a half or so.
Not to worry. Put a very high value on that house. That's what I say. And we'll go after him for $500 million.
Yeah, and
that'll be the most expensive house they ever stole.
Can I use the same thing on being locked up and being tortured without due process? I even got pictures of my arms and fingers being twisted to get me in front of an arraignment trial because they said there was no complaint. So how can I go before arraignment trial?
Now, what did you do when the doctor came?
When the doctor came?
Yeah, did the doctor come to visit you?
No.
All right, here's what I want you to try. The doctor's going to be coming to visit you. And when he comes to visit you, here's what I want you to do. I want you to ask the doctor if he has an appointment.
Okay.
He's going to look at you kind of funny and say, what? I'm the doctor. I don't care if you're the man from GLAD. You got an appointment?
And are you talking about when you're in jail?
I demanded that he have an appointment. I wouldn't see him without an appointment. You call my girl and set up an appointment. I only see people by appointment. He says, I'm the doctor. I said, I don't care if you're the man from GLAD. Do you see people without an appointment? He says, well, no. I says, neither do I. Now call my girl and set up an appointment. And he actually put that in the hearing when they let me go. Demand to have an appointment. I only see people by appointment.
Okay.
I'll try it. It works.
When you're locked in a holding cell.
Also, when you're in there, I want you to keep yourself clean cut. I want your mustache shaved. I want everything. You take showers regular, like you get clean clothes on. You talk rationally. You're very respectful. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. You don't give nobody no rashes of shit. You don't start no trouble. And all of a sudden,
I get locked up in holding cells, Carl. I listen to you a lot. They don't know what to do with me, so they lock me up in a holding cell with
That's
no
what they did to me.
phone.
They did that to me, too. But then you know what happened? Then the pipes broke, and we're fishing on the bunk. And when the water got about this high as the bunk, I know they're listening in the whole time. I said, call the Coast Guard, Channel 16, emergency Channel 16, Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. We're going down fast. We're taking on water. You better send a cutter real quick. That's Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. Channel 16, emergency Channel 16. Call the Coast Guard. We're about a half mile off the point. Better send a cutter quick. And when that guard opened that door, you should have seen what happened. That was the most funny thing. That water went wall to wall out in the foyer. Man, it was just, and this poor guy is standing there looking down at his beautiful Cochran jump boots, all nice and shiny. And that's too bad about them jump boots. I'll bet you dry them suckers out and bring them back to me. I'll show you how to shine them right up real nice. You be able to shave them, Oh, shut up, you crazy old man. You bust my pipes on I didn't bust shit. Now, you guys don't take care of your place. That's your problem. You go call a plumber. Don't talk to me. Go bitch at the plumber. He's the one that screwed it up. In the meantime, all of the prisoners are laughing their ass off, And then I started yelling. And what about them dancing girls? You've been promising them dancing girls for a week now. This place don't have no bar, no dancing girls. What kind of hotel you run here? How'd you get your 3-star rating? I ain't never staying in this hotel again. Oh, shut up, Pops, you crazy old man, da-da-da-da-da. I drove those people nuts.
You're crazier than I am.
I drove them nuts. But I stopped the kid in the next cell from hanging himself with cut-up sheets. He had ripped up the sheets and made a rope and was going to hang himself. Now, you got to keep your sense of humor. No matter what they do, you got to keep your sense of humor.
I never lost it. I never lost my faith, and I never lost my sense of humor. My faith was stronger when they let me out than it ever was when I went in.
When I left there, that sheriff told me, please don't never come back here. We don't want you back here ever again. I don't want you in my jail. So then I took my harmonica out and I started playing as I'm walking out the door, and the bailiff says, you better get the hell out of here, Pops. We're going to get you for inciting. I says, and do what? He says, we'll throw you in another cell. I says, you don't have enough hair on your ass to go up there and tell that sheriff that you threw me in his cell. He would gut you with a dull deer antler. Now, you go try it. Go up there and tell that sheriff you put me in a cell and watch what happens.
Hey, Jerry, if you email me, I'll send it to you. Carl, that's the one that says waiver of tort, third revision?
Waiver of tort. It'll say waiver of tort, example 3.
Example,
well, you got
that
my,
one.
Yeah, you got my.
All right, now read it over real careful. Read it over real careful, and then
I'll send it to you, Jerry.
And tell them you got 10 days to make repair and make me whole.
Okay. I'm willing to try it. That's why I'm listening for you. It's been a couple months now. I lost 20 pounds.
And guess what? If they don't answer you, you have a right to go lean them.
That's what I don't know how to get. I can't find the damn
I'll show you how to do that. I'll show you how to do that. But first, you got to give them notice. You have to give people notice what's happening.
I'm already in the process
You can't just go
that.
do stuff. That's the mistake our people keep making. They just go do stuff and they don't give nobody no notice. Well, then they come get you for doing it.
I'm not making that mistake, Carl. I can't find their bonds. They won't tell me where they're at.
I'm telling you, it'll be with one of 4 or 5 companies. One it'll be, and you could try calling the companies and see, do you bond the city of? Do you hold the indemnification for the city of? Probably it'll be Meadowbrook Mutual Insurance Group out of Ann Arbor, okay?
Meadowbrook
Mutual Insurance Group out of Ann Arbor. It could be Farmers Insurance Group out of 600 North Tower of the Renaissance Center in downtown Detroit, okay? That's another one they like to use. Another one is Michigan Mutual Insurance Company out of Lansing.
I can't write as fast as you talk, but
I'm sorry. I'm trying to get you everything I can. It's like there ain't enough time.
No. I got Farmers and one in the last one on Michigan.
Lansing, Michigan is Michigan Mutual Insurance Group.
Mutual. Thank you.
And the other one is Lloyd's of London, and they operate out of Chicago.
Okay.
Lloyd's of London. And I will tell you a story about that. They had grabbed, I have this gal, she's affectionately known as the cat lady, and I always get her out of jail, keep her out of trouble when they try and take her animals and stuff. And so she come to me one day and she said, I have a daughter. She's studying for her doctoral thesis at Oxford University in London, England. And I said, oh, really? And she had married an English gentleman. Well, the guy got in a car wreck in Austria, and so she ran to the husband's aid. But she forgot to notify their immigration that she had left the country. And see, that's a no-no. And if you do that, they won't let you back in. So anyway, she's trying to get back in from Austria, and they're not letting her get back in. They put her on the plane and sent her back to Austria, and she's living out of the airport in Austria. And so her mama gets a hold of me, and so she told me the whole story. And so I called up the head guy for Lloyd's of London in Chicago, and I says, now you know who I am, and you know I don't play. I'm here to tell you right now, I have a niece, and she's going for her doctoral thesis in Oxford University. She has an American passport. She has a visa to be in your country. She is studying at Oxford University. She has an apartment, and she has a driver's license and a car registered to her in London. I said, now her husband got in a car wreck in Austria. She went to his aid. And when she came back, they wouldn't let her in the country. Now, they're just bullshitting around with Americans because they're pissed about us getting them involved in Kuwait. I know it and you know it. Now, let's quit bullshitting here. Now, you and I know there's gangs in Austria that go around grabbing young American girls and then they take them off for special sexual what have you at the Sheikh of Arabique's harem. I'm telling you, one hair is out of place on her head, and I'm going to attach the jewels of the Queen of England in the Tower of London for $500 billion. He goes, I say, Chappie, that's a bit strenuous, don't you think? I say, you think strenuous? You wait till I do it, and you know I'm good for it, and I've done it before. I will lean everything your queen's got, buddy. Nothing better happened to that girl. Do you know the queen sent her personal jet to Austria to pick the scale up at the airport, fly her back to London. Then the Queen invited her to dinner at the palace and apologized profusely for this inconvenience.
Holy cow.
I get a call from the cat lady, and she says, "You're not going to believe this." I said, "I probably won't, but go ahead. Give me a shot." And she tells me the whole story. Now, I'm telling you, by proper application of things, things get done. And you grab that Lloyd's of London by the short hairs and you tell them about attaching the Queen's jewels in the Tower of London, they'll definitely jump.
It don't seem possible.
But you got to find out who the indemnifier is. If you want these people to jump, here's some of the tricks you can do. Ask the treasurer who their loss inventory control officer is. Then they'll know right away that you're special, okay? Who is your loss inventory control officer, okay? And they'll give you a name and say, okay, when are they available? I'd like to talk to them about a serious litigation that's up and coming. What litigation? It's going to be about a $500 billion lawsuit against your city. What? Oh, you're going to have to talk to our corporate legal. Fine, you put who you want on the phone, but I'm getting ready to bring a $500 billion lawsuit against your town. Now, who is your indemnifier so I can make sure they get a copy of the complaint? All of a sudden, you won't believe what starts happening. All of a sudden, things just quietly start getting fixed, especially when they get your name and they see, and what have you got going in our town? Next thing you know, cases just get dismissed. It's the weirdest thing.
Okay, all I want to do is get this judgment against me voided, because after 72 days, I pleaded no contest, so they could come after
Well, after 90 days, you can hit them with a default for no progress.
Okay.
Has it been more than 90 days?
No, I pleaded no contest after...
Default them for no progress.
Okay, I pleaded no contest after 72 days to get out.
No contest just means you don't make any claim. You're just let them prove their case. You're not saying nothing.
They never proved their case.
That's it. They never proved
They never
their
even
case.
had a... They never
default
had
them for failure to prove their case. That's called failure to make a prima facie case, and default them for lack of progress.
Okay. I never even signed a thing when they let out...
And then just be quiet and wait and see what happens, okay?
Okay. Failure to prove your case.
Failure to make a prima facie case and failure to make progress within 90 days.
Okay, they had already defaulted when they arrested.
Did they ever answer any of your pleadings?
No, I didn't do... I did admissions, default...
Did they answer any of your claims?
Pardon me?
Did they answer any of your claims?
No.
Well, go to Michigan Court Rule 2.603. You have a right to default them. Actually, they should have answered within 21 days, according to Michigan Court Rule 2.108B as in boy and 2.111E1.
I know that one almost as good as you do.
Well,
that's why
failure to answer otherwise plead is an admission of facts and evidence. If they didn't admit or deny, then it's admitted as true.
Yep. Well, they arrested me anyways and forced me to take a bar attorney and become a ward of the court.
Oh boy, when you get that bar attorney, that's the problem. See, then all of a sudden you're admitting that you are incompetent.
No, I didn't.
That bar attorney is a bar attorney. He's not there to represent you. He's there to represent the court.
I know that just as well as you do. I wrote whole articles on it. But what I'm saying to you, Carl, is they forced me to take an attorney. I
know what they did. So it was fraud. It was done in fraud. Fraud voids the most sacred contract. That's versus Tweel, 55297-300. So it was done in fraud.
Yes, it was done in fraud.
Now, you got to get rid of the driver's license. You got to get rid of the Social
Security. I already got rid of it.
Get rid of all stuff.
Carl, I got rid of the driver's license. Got rid of my license plate. And my car says privately owned, not commercial.
And not for hire, right?
No, I didn't put not for hire.
Well, see, they're saying that you are for hire unless you declare you're not for hire.
Say that again.
Okay. All right.
Say it again, Carl. I'm sorry we didn't hear you.
You have to put somewhere in there and hire. See, how they get you is they're claiming that you are for hire on the public roadway. And see, that's driving. Driving is actually defined as a commercial venture for profit or hire on the open road.
Yes,
see, you're not driving.
Isn't that commercial?
If you're commercial, then you're driving.
If I hire somebody, isn't it commercial? If somebody hires
me? If you hired them, yes. If you hired them.
Well, if it says non-commercial, doesn't that take care of that?
That should, yes.
Well, that's what's there. And they steal my life. They steal my public notice off my car every time they arrest me before they call a wrecker.
Yeah.
And then claim it's a commercial car.
They do that because they're trying to redo the contract. See?
Yeah. You're one of my.
All right. Well, let's. All right. Does that take care of your question for now?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
I got my dream. I got to talk to you.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Well, God love you and keep you now. Let me tell you, half of the battle is just showing up. The other half is what you do when you show up. Okay.
I always believe.
At least you showed up and you're trying. So now what we got to do is finish the battle and get you past the other side. Okay.
God bless and have a family.
All right. God love you and keep you. Let's get another question in here because I'm running out of time and I'm going to get yelled at if I don't do something.
All righty. Does anyone else have a question? Press *8, or if you're already unmuted, just go ahead and chime in, ask the question. We have one. Hold on there. Okay, Mighty Mo, go ahead.
Doctor will get on my butt. Hello?
Andy, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, through the years, Carl, when we fought them in 1996 in Lincoln County, Missouri, and again in 1999, the one thing we hammered always that they did not have jurisdiction.
They never
We hammered the hell out of it.
Yeah.
And for the gentleman that just called you that said they forced him to take an attorney, they tried to get us to take an attorney. We laughed at them. In fact, we refused to cross the bar. You know what they did? They threw us in jail. We sat there and laughed at them. 2.5 hours later, they brought us back in court.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. You know why they did that?
Why?
Because they knew they weren't going to honor the law.
That's right. That's right. We were tried and convicted and sentenced before we were ever arrested.
Well, go after their bonds.
And the Missouri State Highway Patrol is the one that arrested us.
Well, go after their bonds. By the way, if you pull the oath of office of these highway patrols, you're going to find out they don't take an oath of office to the Constitution. They take an office to the UN and world contract.
Let me tell you one more thing, Carl.
That, go get their oath of office and look it up. You'll see I'm right.
Let me tell you one more thing that happened. When we were in trial in 1996, the Assistant Attorney General Theodore Bruce, that was the trial lawyer against us. They were prosecuting us. When we quoted the Constitution and the Bible many times, you know what he stood up and told the judge, the jury, and the audience? The Constitution and the Bible does not go in this court. They were administrative court. They told us right there.
Well, guess what? Then you say, well, how does that set with your oath of office? Right.
Well, we didn't know that then. I mean, this was 17 years ago.
Because what you just did is a felony. It's a felony. And you look it up. It's on Title 18, United States Code, Section 2381 through 2384. Because you're aiding and abetting the enemies of our country by breaking down our laws, creating chaos.
Yeah, and we also filed a RICO. We also filed a RICO action back then and everything else. And they convicted us on a Thursday, and we were due to appear in court, federal district court in St. Louis. And the next day they went down and had it kicked out because we couldn't make an appearance. They knew where we were coming from.
Yeah. Well, if you want to start and you want to learn about jurisdiction, start at Title V, United States Code, Section 556D as in David, which basically says the proponent of a rule or order has the entire burden and proof of all claims made, that it's their burden to prove their jurisdiction, not your burden to disprove it. Okay?
Right.
Their burden to prove all jurisdiction, and they can't do it. And if they don't do it and you've timely made the challenge, then all jurisdiction ceases automatically, and then they can't proceed or go forward.
Well, that's what we thought, but they did it anyway. They steamrolled right over us.
I understand what's going on here, and they assume you don't have any recourse, but they're going to have a shock.
Oh, yeah.
If they try and evict this person on next Tuesday, they're going to find a real big shock.
Their day is coming.
The day is coming, okay?
You betcha.
All right, we got any other questions? I want to go because I'm going to have to cut off here soon or I'm going to get yelled at bad.
Oh, gosh. Well, I appreciate you coming on, and we thank you for the time you're spending with us. We always love to hear you. You know that.
I
thank you, Carl, for meeting you.
I love to do it.
It was my pleasure meeting you.
There's a payback. There's always a payback. And the payback is I will get yelled at. The payback is I'll look down and there'll be a puddle of blood on the floor.
Oh, no.
We can't go there. We can't go there.
Well, tell your wife we love her and thank her also for allowing you to be with us and spend time with us.
I will tell her.
Okay. All right. Anyone else have a question? Press *8 or just chime in.
Yeah, let's do it. I want to beat them up bad, and let's do it.
I don't see any questions here. Sometimes there's a delay.
Well,
let's see if there's.
Just tell them keep pushing. You got to understand, when I started this 44 years ago, man, I felt like John the Baptist. I felt like John the Baptist in the wilderness. Now everybody is talking.
Somebody wants to ask a question, so.
What's the bad echo chamber going here?
I know. Go ahead, Central Michigan.
You know what I mean? They're listening. They got to take up on, and they turn. So recording. You got to tap on your phone.
Or they have their desktop speakers on, and we're getting the feedback.
Okay, well, just understand, you got a right to remain silent. You got a right to an attorney. You got a right to have your attorney present during questioning. Anything you say can will be held against you in the court of law. You can't afford an attorney. One will be appointed by the court. Do you understand you have rights? Do you understand you're committing a felony? Yeah.
You know what, Carl? Let me see if I mute you out for a few seconds and let them talk and see if that works. Okay.
All right.
All right. Hold on a second. Okay, go ahead, Central Michigan. You're not saying anything. Do you have a mute button on your phone, maybe, or? Hello.
Still get that echo.
Central Michigan, yeah, I know. All right, well, it's not working. Sorry. Let me go back to Carl. There you are, darling.
Now go to another.
There you go.
All right, go.
Well, no, it's whoever it was didn't come on.
I have a question from California.
Okay, go ahead.
Go for it, California.
California, we have a lot of trouble with our recorders here, county recorders.
Okay.
You go in and they tell you that the state attorney general gives them the right to refuse to record certain articles. But I understand, according to T.J. Mars and several other people, like T.J., good people, they can't do that. How do you approach that?
Here's their main criteria. What they try and say is if you don't have the exact description of the property, okay, on the document, and it's not witnessed and acknowledged, you don't have a notary or any two witnesses, or at least two witnesses, or it be notarized, they have a right to refuse recording, okay? But the law clearly says, and I'm telling you, these clerks all go to school to learn this shit, and they're definitely against our movement. And they don't want to file your papers because they know how valuable those filed papers could be, especially in a legal dispute. And they're trying to keep from being dragged into legal disputes, okay? But the reality is, by law, they are required, if the document is complete and true and witnessed and acknowledged, to record it, okay? Especially if it's dealing with property, okay?
Right, now, that will be...
They can take whatever Attorney General's opinion they want. But the reality is they have no defense. I would give them a copy of the case of Hafer versus Malo and tell them, do you understand you're violating my constitutional rights? Do you understand that a violation of my constitutional rights leaves me the right to sue you personally in your own capacity? Because you are denying me due process. And whenever you deny somebody due process, we go to Title V U.S. Code Section 706. I have a right to this whole procedure over again. That's called de novo. Now look up, I'm telling you right, Title V, U.S. Code, look it up, Section 706, and read those 7 planks, and you're going to see. And they violate all of those when they refuse to allow you to record it. You see that?
Title
you have
V,
a right
Section
to
6?
sue them.
Correct.
Title V, U.S. Code, Section 706. Just read that. It's only about a page and a half long, but read that thing over about 10 times. I win more cases with just that page than any other legal maneuver I do. Other than courtesy.
Thank you, Carl.
Courtesy.
Thank you.
And I tell this to everybody, you can win more cases with courtesy than you can with all of the fancy legal maneuvering.
Amen.
Courtesy
also advisable to take a witness, correct?
Oh, yeah. Witnesses are always good, but don't fill the whole courtroom full of people. Just take a couple of witnesses. Because if you do that, they'll claim you created a security situation, and then they had to cancel the hearing. And then they get away with screwing you until the next hearing date.
This would just be at the recorder's office. I'm going to attempt to record my deed.
Well, they have to record the deed. That's the
it's a grant deed,
created.
Correct.
I know what you're going through. It's bullshit. I'm part-time French. I'm sorry, but, sometimes it slips. I'm an old sergeant.
Oh, I understand.
I'm telling you,
you're allowed.
I'm a Vietnam veteran like yourself, Carl.
Stuff. And you know what I do when they do this stuff? I look up on the wall, and almost always it says, the clerks do not give legal advice. And I say, let me ask you a question. Can you read that sign right there? That's right there, and I point to it. It says, clerks do not give legal advice. It says, how far did you go in school? Do you read and write the English language? Why are you giving legal advice? Are you an attorney? Are you practicing law without a license?
What's your bar number? Yeah, what's your bar number?
What's your bar number, exactly.
Yeah.
They hate that.
Well, TJ's also said there's ways around it by using a paralegal or having an attorney, a good friend of yours attorney, serve the papers, take them in.
Or what you can do is go to the very next county over and give it to them and tell them to mail it to that county, and they'll mail it.
That's understood. I understand they have to honor, like Madera County, a small county up here north of me. I could have it recorded there.
The counties respect each other's sovereignty, and they'll allow that to be done.
Right. Usually the small counties don't mind.
Yeah.
I did my UCC1 filing.
As long as you're paying them a fee,
That's true.
They get their fee. That's what they want.
Yeah. I could try that first.
Try that.
Well, thank you. Thank you, sir. And I want to wish you a happy Memorial Day.
All right, you do the same.
I'm a Vietnam vet like you.
Oh, hey, good job. Good
I got a cousin at Khe Sanh. He's a member of the Khe Sanh Society, and it's to be honored. You guys really did your part. I was just coastal recon support for the Marines.
Okay,
I was Coast Guard.
Yeah. That's why I always give Coast Guard credit. I give the nurses credit.
Amen.
When you looked up there, when you were all shot to pieces and you looked up, who was that smiling at you? A nurse.
Amen.
Know what I mean?
Bless you, Carl.
All right. God love you.
Thank you for your help.
Take care now. We got any more questions? Let's take one more, and then I got to take care of business.
All right. Anybody else have a question?
I will have a serious medical problem.
For the living legend?
Oh, no. I just try and work harder than they do. That's all. I outwork them. That's my plan. My plan is to outwork them.
And you do. You run circles around them, Carl.
I really try. I do. I'm here, I'm there, I'm everywhere. And when I'm not there, you really need to worry.
Yeah. I God forbid. We want you to stay around a long time.
Just tell them papers are in the mail.
Did you say you were going to be on Jack Bauer's call tonight?
I'm going to try. I'm going to see how I do here on this. And if I can keep my blood pressure down, I'll do it. I've got to put the heat on these guys. Sometimes you just got to bend a little bit and just got to adapt, innovate, improvise. Adapt, innovate, improvise. Survive.
Yep, that's it.
So that's what we're trying to do.
Carl, can you take one more question?
Go
ahead.
One more question, and then we're shutting her down.
How would you deal with the tax evasion issue?
Well, it depends on the issue. Is it state or federal?
Federal.
Well, how far back is this going?
I'm not understanding what you're asking.
How far back are they going in years?
Oh, it's for 97.
Okay, about 10 years, 5 years.
Yeah, but it had to do
now,
with...
Now, are they actually charging you with that? Did they actually charge you with that?
Yes.
Okay. And you're in court right now?
Yes.
Are you out on bond?
I guess you could say that. Personal cognizance.
Okay. Have you ever looked up a statute called Title 26 United States Code, Section 7851?
No, I have not.
Now, you need to look that up. Now, the reason I bring this to your attention is, back in 1939, when they created this whole taxing program, it was called then the 1939 war tax, okay? This happened in 1939. It was only supposed to be a temporary tax to support the war effort, okay? And they promised faithfully, the Congress promised faithfully at the end of the war that it would be suspended and or repealed, okay? And they lied. They got used to taking the money and they lied. So now we're at 1954 and that's the end of the Korean War. And of course they create the emergencies to keep the wars going so that they have to keep the war tax ongoing, you see, which is what they did in Korea. Now, at the end of the war, they promised, okay, we're going to fix it. And that's how Title 26 came into being. And the Congress all got together and they prepared this Title 26, and it was supposed to be the new be-all and come-all of taxation, okay? And they were going to keep their word to the American people, and they were going to repeal this tax act for the war efforts, okay? Now, it got to the date where they were actually going to sign and bring this into law. And one of the congressmen stood up and said, well, under the statute and the law as I see it, the enforcement procedures are in the 1939 Corporate Tax Act, okay, or in the Tax Act, the War Powers Tax Act of 1939. They didn't bring those powers forward to the Title 26. So, in effect, we can't actually force the collection of property. Now, how are we going to handle that? And another congressman got up and said, well, if we, one day after we sign this into law, we actually repeal the 1939 Tax Act, and then we won't be able to foreclose or seize any property. And another congressman stood up and says, the American people are basically, they'll never figure this out. We just won't tell them that we repealed the 1939 Act. We'll put 26, we'll tell them that. We just won't sign it into law. So that one requirement, then one day after we sign it, won't ever, because
you're cutting out a little bit, Carl.
The American people will never figure it out, you see. Oh, here, I know what's happening. All right, just a second. The American people will not figure it out. So we just won't put that date in, you see. Just a second.
All right.
Just a second. We got to have more wire. More wire.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go. All right, there we go. All right. Okay, how's that now? Are we better now?
Oh, yeah, because you were cutting in and out. We couldn't understand what you were saying.
All right, well, the battery's dying. My battery's dying. This is a long time to talk on the phone without it dying. All right? So, anyway, what they said is it just won't apply. We just won't put the date in, so it won't get repealed, you see? Now, they actually all conspired to do this. Now, guess what? That's recorded at Title 26, United States Code, Section 7851. Read about 10 pages in there, and you're going to see it's never been actually implemented in law because they never put the date in. They never put the date in.
Title 26.
Title 26, U.S. Code 7851. They never put the date in. So technically, Title 26 is not even law. So the charges they brought up against you are technically not real charges because they never brought the 7203. It never was brought into law. They never signed it off. Now what we need to do is get to the congressional record and get the proofs that they never signed it into law. You want to be doing discovery along those lines. Now that's one method you can do. Another is you can demand in discovery under what is called the Jenks material under Title 18 United States Code. That's Title 18, U.S. Code, Section 3500. And what you want to do is they have a duty, an absolute duty, that if you serve them with a notice of discovery and what you want, or a request for admissions, you want to make them admit that they, in fact, did this, that they never put the date in to bring Title 26 into law. So how are you being charged with a law that never was brought into law? What?
That's a good question.
When I did that to the United States Attorney here, he ordered the marshals to remove me from the building. And I looked at him and I said, you must have a very excellent attorney. And he goes, why do you say that? And I said, well, the Honorable Horace R. Gilmore, big round face, never smiles, has absolutely zero sense of humor. Chief Judge of the United States Federal Court ordered me to be here today to talk to you. And now I come down here and you tell me that you don't want, he can screw off and die, you ain't talking to me. Now I'm going to have to go back and tell him that. You must have a very excellent attorney. And he goes, no, let's not be hasty here. Let's sit down and talk and see when we brought all of these facts out to him and let him understand. And I'll tell you what, did you go to the United States Attorney in Washington, D.C. and ask permission to bring this case? You're going to find out they didn't. Do you know that it's required under indictment procedure that they go to the United States Attorney and ask his permission to bring this indictment?
I do know that. I just became aware of that, actually.
Okay. Go down there and ask him for a copy of it. I want to see where he gave you permission to bring this case.
That's something to ask for in discovery.
That's right. And ask for discovery any and all exculpatory evidence which would tend to show that you're not guilty of any of these charges. And if they don't give it, guess what? They proceed at their very peril, and that's the order of federal judges all over the country. One of them is James P. Churchill. On February the 18th, 1984, and he ordered the court, if it should be found that the government has failed to provide the Jenks material, they proceed at their very peril. So you can get the case dismissed. If you say, they didn't provide the Jenks material, Judge, timely, and you make a complaint to that effect, they got to dismiss the whole case. Now let me ask you this. Did they arraign you when you first, did they read you your rights? You got a right to remain silent. You got a right to an attorney. You got a right to have your attorney present question. Anything you say can and will be held against you in a court of law. You can't afford an attorney, one of you appointed by the court.
I don't
Did
think
they do
actually,
that to you? Well,
no,
guess what? You were a prisoner in custody. So guess what? They got to dismiss the case because they didn't read you your rights. And the name of that case is called Miranda versus Arizona and Dickerson versus United States. Look up both those cases. Miranda versus Arizona and Dickerson versus United States.
When would they have done that, Carl? Before the arraignment?
They would have done that when they picked you up.
Well, they never picked me up. It was a summons to come into court. And be
arraigned. You say? Really? To be arraigned?
Yep.
Wow. Well, they just did that to a friend of mine, and we served such papers on him you couldn't believe, and I basically told this whole story. And you know what happened when we got to court?
They didn't want to arraign him anymore?
The doors were locked. The judge wasn't even in the courthouse. The lawyers never showed up. I moved for dismissal by failure to appear. They just now entered the order dismissing the whole case. So I'm telling you, this stuff does work. But
well, some of Carl's documents.
You got to get it in writing. And you post them with that documentation. And isn't it a fact that Title 26 has never been enacted into law? And then show them the 7851 and the rules and the fact that from the congressional record that it was never enacted into law. That they actually forgot to put the date in deliberately.
Okay.
Now, all of a sudden, you're going to find out we're not taking this guy to trial. Because if we take this guy to trial, we're going to look like idiots.
Well,
and that's what will happen. And then quietly, you'll go to court, and the door will be locked, and they won't come out. And then you go immediately and dismiss it for failure to appear. Okay?
Go to the clerk and dismiss it for failure to appear?
Say, I'm here for a hearing today. How come they're not here? Here's my precipice. Here's my notice of hearing. Today was the day and dead certain. I've been down there. The doors are all locked. There's no judge. I was told the judge isn't even in the building. Okay? You try it. You try this, and I promise you, you're going to get some success. Now, if you give me your email, I will send you the rules on proper indictment. Okay. And then they got to follow all these rules. And if they don't follow these rules, you have a right to call them on it. For instance, did they ever give you a copy of the grand juror's, the foreman's opinion on the whether or not they're going to vote for a trial?
No, but I refused discovery from them. They had I don't know if that was in it.
Well, go back and rescind your refuse for discovery and demand to get it back. Okay.
Okay.
We need to have that discovery because I'll tell you, they didn't do it. I'll tell you right now, they didn't do it. Tell them you want the grand jurors, the foreman of the grand jurors' decision and record of the actual vote taken, whether to bring you to trial or not.
Okay.
You have a right to that in due process, and that's also part of the Jenks material. So you got Title 18 U.S. Code, Section 3500. Look up that Jenks material, U.S. versus Jenks. They violate that in any way, they got to dismiss the whole complaint, okay? Look up Brady versus Maryland. That's your rights under discovery. Brady versus Maryland. All you got to do is go on Google, type in Brady versus Maryland, and it'll come up. Okay? You can do the same thing for U.S. versus Jenks. It'll all come up. Then look up Title 18 United States Code, Section 3500. Okay?
Okay.
Then I'm going to send you give me your email, and I will send you this grand jury indictment procedure.
Could you send that to?
Required to do.
Could you send that to Angela and Chappie will get it from you? Chappie will get it from you, Angela.
She'll get it tonight. Okay.
Sure.
Awesome.
But I will tell you, we've been having a lot of storms and tornadoes and stuff, and our emails have been down. It's real spotty.
Okay.
I'm actually lucky to get this phone working this long right now.
Okay. I appreciate your input, and I've listened to all your stuff and downloaded and drive around listening to you, and you are very inspirational.
Yeah, well, I try and make sure we make as many of them Carl Miller guys as we can, and I love it when the judge sits back there And I send my guy in there. This was a funny story, and he was one of these heads of this outlaw motorcycle gang, and they beat him up kind of bad. Well, he beat up 8 of their guards, in fairness, okay? I mean, he beat the hell out of them. They shot him with a taser, and they got him down, you know, and they beat him up, and then they threw him in with me, and I cleaned him up with the toilet tissue on the sink and what have you. And I basically told him, I says, you're definitely a bad dude. I seen you wipe the floor with 8 of their big guards. I says, but you can't really win like that. Now, if you want to win, you absolutely can't be cursing nobody, beating on nobody, doing none of that. You have to actually bare your chest and dare them to stab you. You know what I'm saying? You got to be like that guy Mel Gibson in that movie, The Patriot Game, okay? As long as you don't draw your sword and be belligerent. Remember what the general told that guy. He said, he's the one. That's the one we're after. He said, you cannot do. He is here under a white flag. You cannot do nothing unless he draws his sword. So he goes over there and told him that it was him that killed his own boy. You know what I'm saying? Yep. Well, why? He wanted to provoke him to draw his sword so they could jump him. As long as you don't draw your sword and you're a perfect gentleman, they got to treat you with dignity. Okay? So I told him exactly what had to be done, and I told him, now look, you got to promise me you can't be cursing people, beating on people, and doing all kind of crazy shit. You got to do what I tell you. If you want to win, you got to do what I tell you. Okay. Second, when we win, I want you to go out to one of them magazine shoppes out there at the mall, and get me about 2 dozen of them swimsuit editions from that Sports the Field, and I want you to mail one to every damn floor in this jail. I said, you see them big goons over there wearing them black helmets with them big sticks? They come in and they like to beat the shit out of everybody. I said, I'm tired of this crap. What I want to do is have them boys looking at gorgeous girls so they ain't got no business being all pissed off and fighting amongst each other, and then those guys can't come in and beat the shit out of everybody. Now, does that sound like a plan? He says, yeah. I said, all right, you promised me faithfully now. When I get you off, you're going to go out there and get every floor in this jail. I want to get some of them swimsuit editions. You know, the 3 guys actually got back with their wives and settled over their divorce. I mean, we had all kinds, and guys mellowed out, and they didn't get no more fights. It was really cool. Even the jailers were saying, it's never been so peaceful around here since you got here, Pops. Well, you got to use your head. If you guys used your head, these guys wouldn't be so agitated all the time and punching at each other all the time. You wouldn't have to come in and beat on nobody with no black sticks. Anyway, to make a long story short, the guy goes into court right out of the chute. Your Honor, may it please the court. I'm so-and-so. I'm appearing in propria persona pursuant to Article 1, Section 13, Paragraph 5 of the 1963 Constitution, and I'm here in my administrative and procedural matters. I'm here in propria persona as my own chief counsel, and I'm ready to proceed with my administrative and procedural matters. And at this time, Your Honor, may it please the court, I motion to quash, strike, dismiss, or otherwise summary judgment plaintiff's fraudulent and spurious complaint. And I'd like to collect my costs and fees at the Michigan Court Rule 2.116, Friends C, Friends 8, and the judge rolled back in his chair and he goes, there couldn't be 2 of them guys. And everybody just busted out laughing. And the prosecutor says, Mr. Prosecutor, have you seen these documents? He says, oh, yes, sir, Judge. We just got them now. We just got served. He says, and we've seen these documents before, Judge. You know, meaning, hint, 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 these are militia papers. Da-da-da. And so he says, well, I've got to let this guy go. You guys screwed up again, you know, and I got to let this guy go. And so you type up your nolo prosequi and get this guy out of here. Okay, so they dismissed the charges. So the guy comes back to the jail. You did it, Pops. You damn well did it. And everybody's cheering. You know, he's like Rocky having. You know, I says, man, will you shut up? And sure enough, the bailiff over here. Pops, you ain't supposed to be helping nobody. We told you about that. You ain't no attorney. Now I got to lock you in a hole. So they locked me in the hole for that, for helping that guy. But I'm telling you, it tickles the hell out of me when I hear about the judge rolling back in the chair saying there couldn't be 2 of them guys. You know what I'm saying? Well, let me tell you, folks out there in TV land, there's thousands of those guys. They're everywhere. Got me? And I'm going to make another 1,000 before I die. What do you think of that? So that tickles the hell out of me when you guys go out there and you give them the Carl Miller treatment. There's another one. Did you see that? He did it just like that other guy did. You know? Now, here's what I want you to do. When they ask you, who helped you with this? You just tell them, oh, Judge, you just push the button on the computer and shumka, 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 shumka. It just keeps coming out. I want that judge to know he's fighting the computer. I want him to know, oh, man, we're never going to beat these guys. Let them understand. You just keep pushing the button on that computer and shumka, 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 shumka. It just keeps coming out. Then all of a sudden they start to realize these people are really good. We're never going to beat them. We're never going to beat these Americans. I love the idea of them coming to that thought process. I actually had the prosecutor ask me one time, he says, well, are you a member of some club or something? Who do you represent? And I looked right at him and I said, we're with the Americans. Maybe you heard of us. We never quit and we always win. And the whole court just busted out laughing. And when I got ready to leave, the prosecutor turns to me and goes, see you, Americans. And I said, damn right you will. And we'll be here tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day and the next day. This will
we have another question.
All right, one last question, and that's absolutely the last straw. So get it. Let's do it, and let's stand up, hook up, shuffle.
Thank you for your help. I'm going to mute myself. Bye-bye.
All right,
thank you.
God love you. Good luck to you.
All righty, Marilyn, go ahead.
Paul,
all right.
Another thing you can tell that guy who's been harassed by the tax people, when they took me to jail in 1995, they said, you haven't filed since 1980. I said, that's correct. He says, it looks like you're going to end up with 30 years. I said, no, it's not. Because, first of all, the feds can only go back 6 years.
That's why I asked him. That's why I asked him how far back this went.
Because the state can only go back 3 years. And
the judge can't go back at all.
The judge looked at the prosecutor, and he says, is that true? And I said, don't ask him, Judge. He don't know nothing. He doesn't even know why he's here today. So he had to go back and look into it and came back and said, well, we can only go back 6 years. So that's all they went back was 6 years, and that was it. And
that's why I asked him that. That's why I did ask him that.
Look, when you're done with this call, do me a favor. Give me a call right away. I need to talk to you about something. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Are you? All right, okay.
Hey, can I interject on the statute of limitations there? There are some other circumstances that, besides it being from 97 to 98, they didn't get filed till 2006. So, there's more issue there.
Yeah, you have to file. I mean, they'll say you have to file, otherwise the statute doesn't count at all. They'll claim
Correct.
that you defrauded. They'll claim that you
Correct.
defrauded. But I had to know that. I had to know that to make that determination.
Okay, I should have never filed.
Yeah.
So,
and,
anyway.
I when they make those statements, I would just say, hey, I pay all lawful tax when it becomes due. It just never became due for me during those years, so I never filed.
I filed under duress, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, you could do that, but why stir the pot? Why not just tell them, hey, I pay all of... You see, they're looking for a mens rea. They're looking for you to have a state of mind where they can claim, you're one of those tax protesters, see. I don't even give them that shot. I pay all lawful taxes when it becomes due. Now, it's your burden to prove that I had a lawful tax that was due.
Uh-huh.
See, I throw everything back in their lap. Now you prove it.
Well, their proof is the 1040s.
Fine, but show me that I had a lawful responsibility to pay that. You can't do it. You can't do it. Why? Because first of all, the tax was never enacted into law, and second of all, you don't have any jurisdiction, and third of all, you didn't prove any jurisdiction, and fourth of all, you're just using a civil investigative procedure to enhance a criminal investigation. That's illegal. California Bankers Association versus Schultz and LaSalle National Bank. You better, I told these guys, they pulled the same crap on me. 27 years, they held me in chains before the court. And I said, I've heard that the United States Attorney can indict a ham sandwich, and everybody busted out laughing. And I said, but I'm here to tell you, before you bring this damn fool complaint, you better crawl upstairs in that dusty law office you got upstairs, pull out the real thick books, because I'm here to tell you I already have, and if you bring that damn fool complaint, I'm going to tell you to make my day. And the whole court, for a second, stopped. And did I hear what I thought? He should make my day. Even the judge busted out laughing, okay? And the poor attorney they appointed to stand near me looked up to heaven and he goes, why me? What did I ever do? And the other attorneys yelled back at him, you sure can pick him, Epstein, and da-da-da-da-da. And I said, all right. The judge goes, all right, order in the court. But I told him, make my day. You bring that complaint, make my day, pal, because I'm going to wipe the floor with you. And when I was done, 22 minutes later, they let me go with 27 years they had charged me for. And they didn't have no clothes to give me because they had taken my clothes and just left me with jail clothes. So they had to let me go in jail clothes. So when I walked out, all the cops were grabbing their gun. How do you get out of the lockup? And the bailiff told them and escorted me to the door and told them never mind, just let this one go. Judge says he's heavy duty. Just let him go. So they let me go. So I went right out in front of 231 West Lafayette, and I did that Tarzan thing. And all the cops busted out laughing. Called me a cab, and I left. But before I got in the cab, a little girl came up, and she was being a school teacher, and she had been busted for possession of a little joint in school. And she was crying her eyes out. And we sat there on the steps of the United States Federal Courthouse, and I calmed her down. I got her an attorney, and I told her, stay calm now. Everything's going to be fine. And work this out. Now, you go see this guy. He's really good, and he will make sure that you get your day in court, okay? And she said, thank you, sir. I don't know how I'll ever thank you. I said, you just thank me by not doing that ever again. I don't want to hear about you being in school with stuff. You know better than that. You're a school teacher. But the bottom line is those cops, now every time I go down there, they all laugh. They all come out of the woodwork and they laugh. But they know who I am. They know better than to play stupid games. I'm not playing. So I'm telling you, I'm going to send, I'll send this to, also to you, Angela, this indictment procedure so you can see it. Okay?
Okay.
And then make sure it gets to everybody, because if they don't follow this exactly, you have a right to shut down the indictment. Okay?
Okay, what I will do is I will post it on your page on my private audio website.
And I apologize to everybody for being so long, in absence, but man, I've been very ill, very, very ill. I've been very ill. I really have. And
I'm glad you're better.
I got to use good judgment. I got to use serious good judgment.
Sure.
Otherwise, you need good help too.
I need good help. Yeah, and I'm not effective. If I'm dead, I'm not effective. So you know what? We're riding on the lower side of the battery right now. So I'm waiting to get another battery.
Yeah. Well, we've gone the 2 hours. I mean, we've had a good call.
I'm still hanging in there. See, that's the problem. And that doctor, he knows. You can't leave it alone, can you? You just can't leave it alone, can you? You just got to get out there and...
Well, Carl, go get some rest. And
that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do.
We'll talk soon, and because I got a plan where we can help you, okay?
All right. Not to worry. But I followed that one plan of that Dave guy, and I'm doing pretty good. I'm hanging. But I just got to not get my blood pressure so way out.
I mean, not only in your help, but also in getting these documents and helping and getting people together, okay?
I wrote it down here. You should get it today, and Angela will get it for sure, okay?
All right.
Thank you so much.
All right, God love you, honey. Angela. You're doing great work, baby. You just keep it up.
Oh, thank you. I love you too. Thank you so much.
Absolutely nuts.
Thanks for coming and spending time with us. We'll see you later on at Jack Bauer's call.
Yep. I'm going to do my best. Yes, I am.
Get your batteries charged up.
Everywhere. Yeah, I got to go charge my battery right now, or I'm not going to get out of bed. That's what will happen.
Yeah, go take a nap too.
All right. God love you.
I would love you.
Take care.
Have fun. All righty. Bye-bye. Wow, what a treat. What happened, Chappie? You couldn't get a hold of him? Would you email him or what?
No, I tried to call him and everything, and he never returned my call. And
did you leave him a message?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I had it posted on the talk show that Carl Miller Constitution Man was going to be the guest, and then when you Skyped me and told me you never got a hold of him or emailed me, I went and removed it, and then there he was this morning at 10 o'clock, ready to go, and I said, "Oh, cool! What a great surprise!"
We had a lot of people join the call anyway. That was good.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, I sent out the blast there at the last minute.
Can I borrow the stage for a moment, please?
Yeah.
Sure. Go ahead.
Oh.
All right.
We know about Carl.
Pardon?
I'm sorry. You know what?
That's
Go
okay.
ahead, Mighty. I didn't mean to mute you out, but the breathing started, and Chappie wanted to say something. So, what do you want?
Well,
It's
Andy
okay.
wanted to say good thanks to Carl. Go ahead, Andy.
No, Carl, I just wanted to thank you for all your efforts and all your time and all your knowledge. And we're going to win eventually. And I will say my prayers for you.
Oh, that's sweet. Okay,
Yeah.
I think he's gone already, but he'll.
That's all right. That's okay.
Yeah. It's
but
out into the universe, so.
He said something about some time ago about sense of humor. Many times I've told people, you know what got us buying the service? They said, what? I said, our sense of humor. We never looked on the gloomy side. And a lot of the guys I've talked to through the years, they said exactly. Every outfit they were in, the guys had a sense of humor. You can't lose it. You can't lose it.
Very good. Angela, I'd like to take the stage here just for a moment, if I might.
Go right ahead.
All right. Thank you. Well, it's been quite a call. It's always great with Carl's here. Look forward to having him back time and time again. What I wanted to say, and Angela, plug your ears because you don't want me to say it, I know, because you would never, ever, ask anybody for anything. And I want to tell you that Angela has been doing some fantastic work for all of us over the years. And Angela's in a situation, she's been taking care of her son that was badly injured in a motorcycle accident some years ago and had brain injury. And because of the drugs that he was on to help him with that brain injury, he's now has problems with his kidneys, and they've shut down, and he's on dialysis. And this has been a very big burden for Angela, not only emotionally but financially. And so I'm just going to say it. Angela needs our help, and please do what you can and go to Angela's site, myprivateaudio.com, and there's a donation link there. And please, whatever you can afford to give Angela, please do so. And she's in immediate need, so that would be greatly appreciated. And that's all I have to say, Angela.
Well, thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. You have no idea. I do. I need all the help I can get right now. I'm sorry to say, but and I hate to do it, but I appreciate you putting the word out. And God bless you.
I concur with that because Angela, I've been listening to you off and on for quite a while, and you. And you set up that whole website. You set up the information. You're well connected with all the leaders of the movements and their different views. Whether they're right or wrong is irrelevant. But you are a star as far as the brightness of people coming together and learning what they need to learn for their different issues. Like me, I'm pretty much just on the IRS. Greg is mostly on the traffic tickets, but you're the centerpiece. You're the the center, and you never ask for a dime. And so forth. So I think that people that tithe, give her some of your tithe or God's tithe or whatever, however you look at it. But let's help each other. Not only what you can get out of the call, but throw seed back in there, and things will grow. We need to work together. We need to unite. So I applaud Greg for bringing that up, and I applaud Angela for doing what she does. So let's make it worthwhile for us. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, guys. I love you.
Oh, we love you. Same here, Angela. You're the cat's meow, as they say, Angela.
Okay, I guess we ought to just wind it up because it's 2 hours and everything, and quickly we can talk about Greg. I'll let you if you want to close out first, or.
Oh, sure. Okay, I can do that, Chappie. Thank you. Again, I just want to remind you, you can go to Angela's website, myprivateaudio.com. There's a donation link there. And I know everyone today is hard-pressed for funds, but, we really need to support champions of liberty like Angela when they have a great need. And Angela would never have asked for this, and so as someone that greatly admires Angela and what she's been doing over the years, Chappie and I, want to bring it to your attention because we feel that you would want to support Angela. And so, in regard to what I do, and as Chappie mentioned, I've been helping people with traffic tickets, and through a very successful method called the common law default for a little over 8 years, and literally thousands of people across this land have had their tickets dismissed with this process, and this process has worked against administrative claims or judicial claims and traffic tickets, plus other areas outside of traffic, building code, alleged building code violations, health and safety, zoning, animal control, fish and game, forestry department claims like clamping without a permit or an unauthorized campfire, different things like that. But it had people with tow road charges dismissed. One back in November got nearly $2,500 worth of tow road charges dismissed with this process. I've had people with serious charges, one with a felony here not too long ago that got dismissed. So just to give you some indication of how powerful and adaptable this process is, it works for many things outside of traffic. And so you can find information about the common law default at my website, ticketslayer.com. So that's ticketslayer.com. There's a contact link on there if you want to contact me and regarding anything, dealing with the common law defaults or traffic tickets. And so, Chappie, at that point, I'm just going to give you the stage. And thank you very much.
Good, thank you. And likewise, through listening to Bill Thornton and Carl Miller and many others, Dave Maryland and everything, you people get the idea. You got to have a complaint. You got to be the complaining party. You can be a defendant to a point, but there's going to come a time where they love defendants because they don't. You don't know how to defend yourself. But when you turn the tables on them, now you're in a different spotlight. Now you're the leader. And you're in common law, like Bill Thornton teaches, and Carl supports it with the Constitution and constitutional law. The common law is higher than equity. Your claim is higher than your claim. Your court is higher than the court that you're in. So you got to put it together, and through people like Carl Miller and Greg and Robert Fox. We are getting some information that is going to change the way we see things, and hopefully we can get our country back on paper alone without any fights. Whether there be fights or not, I don't know. I don't like gloom and doom. I like sunshine, and so I'm a positive thinker. I think that we can all win. If we win on the local level, we'll start winning on the higher level. So if you want more information about that, you can go to I put it on the site there, but it's weareus.us, W-E, the letter R-U-S.us. And you'll be surprised, and excuse me, I got to start reading something. .us, you can download the 58-page memorandum on Dave Maryland's criminal complaint. I help people put that together so they're put on notice that you are now a federal witness, and when they come against you and they try to come against you, they're coming against a federal witness. So go to that website. Also, I'm looking for people that are willing to help other people because we can't do it all. Carl can't do it all. I can't do it all. And I would love to do it all for free. Unfortunately, I can't because this is the way I pay my bills. However, we do have other ways that people can get involved where you make money. And yes, it's multi-level marketing if anybody has a problem with that. But the thing of it is we have two different programs that are awesome. So get back to me. Let me know if you heard me from this show, and I will give you more information on that. And with that, Angela, I turned it over to you. God bless America.
Okay, is that the, let's see, weareus.us?
Uh-huh.
And didn't you have another one? Or I guess we have one now, Protectors of Liberty, right?
Yes, we have one for Protectors of Liberty. And what Carl was talking about, if you go to that website and you put it over his picture, he says, yes, I have 18 heart attacks and I feel good. Well, let me know, because it's a great product, and the company's been in business. When it first started, it did $3 million. The second year, it did $10 million, and now it's going to go to $100 million. So this company is growing leaps and bounds, and you want to hear more about it. I promise you. Talk to you soon. Thank you.
Thank you. It's been a good call, Ticket Slayer. Greg?
Thank you so much, Angela. Yeah, it's a great call. And enjoyed being here. And I want to just thank everyone for joining us. And I hope you enjoyed the call. I just want to say that Chappie and I are doing everything we can. A lot of this work's been on Chappie. Chappie's been bringing the guest on, and he's done a lot of it. And so we want to just keep working and just making this a call that is a great benefit to everyone as far as bringing information on how to handle some of these challenges, or the great many challenges that we all face from a runaway government that is attacking our freedoms and undermining our liberties.
And it also gives them a chance, those that can't come on the evening calls, and because they're working or they have other duties and responsibilities, this gives them a chance. They can come on in the morning or afternoon, depending on your time zone, and participate. Like Jerry Stanton, that was the first time I think I've ever seen him on the call. So I'm glad that you decided to put this on Saturday mornings.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, just a quick reminder, we would love for you to go to ProtectorsOfLiberty.com, and there you'll find a link to join the Protectors of Liberty Yahoo group. And that Yahoo group, if you'll join up on that, Chappie and I will be adding things to the files there. It's been kind of a slow process, but I want to turn my attention more to that. Got a lot on my plate like everybody else, I guess, but we want to add useful information to the file section. So that's one of the things that by joining up, you'll get access to the files as we put information there that we hope you find very useful. It's information you can put into action to help your situation, whatever it be. And also you'll receive information about guest speakers and things about the calls that we have each Saturday on the Protectors of Liberty TalkShoe community call.
Okay, very good. And thank you, everybody, and to all you veterans out there. We hope you have a wonderful, warm, and loving Memorial Day. And don't eat too much barbecue, and just take a nap. Everybody deserves to take a nap. Have a rest. All righty. Good night, or good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are. I was saying good night. I'm so used to the Thursday night call. All right, everybody. Have a good remainder of the weekend. We love you, and take care of everybody. Take care of each other. Good night.
Thank you, Angela.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you for the kind words. Thank you.
Most welcome. And thank you, Chappie.